Hey guys, good morning. Happy Thursday, December 15th. Welcome into Cancel This. You can go to cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, and you may see a familiar face. The gang's all back. When we say the gang's all back, we mean the gang's all back. The entire gang. Eric's on his way in, so until Eric gets here, hey, the one and only Chris Knight jumping in.
Guys.
Scotty Gherkin's here as well. He's over there getting everything done. I looked over and Scott's a very kind man. He had an angry look on his face when I looked over.
And he is the nicest person.
Scotty, what's up, man?
I hate when stuff doesn't work.
You mean that happens sometimes?
It does.
It happens. And we just rock and roll right along. We appreciate everybody joining us again. We're here from 7 to 10 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. I like that music.
I found it.
That's all right.
It finally came on.
It's better late than never.
Goodness.
Right.
Better
The
late
bugs.
than never.
The bugs.
I'm excited today. We got a lot of topics. We got a lot of things going on today. Chris, are you just going to hang out there until Eric shows up, or is Eric just going to go over and do some of the tech stuff today?
No, I'm going to make him do some tech stuff today.
It's good to see you
He's
back on
late, like,
camera.
every day. Nothing's ever changed with that guy.
Well, I know. We may have to redo the contract.
Oh.
From an 8
We can
o'clock,
do that.
an 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock worker. It may happen that way.
I think
We'll
I
have to
look
wait
better
and
on this camera than Eric does.
see. You do. How have you been? It's been a while since some of our regular listeners from the Edge and the Viper saw you, and it's been a while since some of our new people have seen you because they may not know you. So you're
They
back
may not,
in.
but they might.
It's
might
good to
know.
see you. It's back in. Welcome to the show. Welcome to your first live on air. We appreciate you jumping in.
I'm so excited.
How's the
today.
family?
Family's great.
For
Family's good.
our listeners all around the country, let everybody know who you are, what you do.
I do everything. A little bit of everything.
What some people jump in there like, who is this dude
That's
that
right.
He's
Vic
bright-eyed
and
this
Tabitha
morning,
have brought
too.
on the show?
You'll soon find out if you don't know me. Trust me.
That is one way of putting it. That's for sure, where you start in on a good day. Some of the topics we're going to get to coming up. Oil, it's not a fossil fuel. I repeat, oil, it's not a fossil fuel. Tabitha Hassel is going to jump in on that. The Apple AirTags becoming a major problem all across the country. We've talked about it on this show, and we don't want to toot our own horn, but a lot of the topics you hear here for the first time, you're going to start to see in other stories. Did we not talk about Apple AirTags already in 2.5 weeks? Yes, we did. Oil not being a fossil fuel? Yes, we did. Wokeness being challenged? Yes, we did. There's a university that has now raised $100 million to battle, you guess what? Wokeness. You can't make this stuff up. Things are happening. Is it the backlash that Eric talks about? Maybe, maybe not. We'll get into that as well. We've also got Jeff Roorda. For our listeners who know him, you know him. For those of you who don't, you don't. When he heard that we were doing the show, he Facebooked me. He's like, well, if you're talking about people who've been canceled, you definitely got to have me on your show. Jeff's coming up at 8 o'clock. He's the former business manager for the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. We'll talk about the issues that he sees going on now, what happened to him, and I don't even know. And I know the man, but apparently some things that nobody knows about when it adds some credence to what he was trying to do. He obviously had a riff with the St. Louis Circuit Attorney, Kim Gardner. So we'll get into that as well.
I do too.
Still?
Yes.
What's that? Should get you on some parking tickets. Oh, wait a second. You would have to cross 2 bridges to get to St. Louis, and you don't
Right.
cross the first one from St. Charles County into St. Louis
I did
County.
today.
And you did.
I did today.
I was his escort, but we got here.
Right, we got here.
It is Cancel This. Once again, you can go to all of our podcast content at cancelthisshow.com. Once again, cancelthisshow.com. You'll click on where to stream, and then you can click from some of your choices right now. They include Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. And when you're on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook, you want to go out and click any sort of what's called a bell. It's kind of our what to do, our call to action, to let those networks know that you really want to watch us, so that we'll pop up. And allegedly, that's what you have to do. There is a bell figure on YouTube that you click. Have you done this before, Tabitha?
I have, and most importantly, subscribe. If you really want to help us out and you want to support the show, check out our website, canceltheshow.com. You'll see a list of all of the platforms we are available on. And just take the time, take 10 minutes, go out to each and all of those platforms and follow and like the show. And guess what? That supports us.
All right. We'll be talking about this throughout the show, too. Also on our to-do list, a little homework, so to speak, housekeeping. Mark the date, December 22nd, 7 p.m. If you don't have anything to do, you can come join us. You can meet us. We're going to be at Wenty's in the Chesterfield Valley, just off Chesterfield Airport Road. For our listeners outside of the state, we're sorry unless you come in for the holidays. We'd love to see you. We should have some.
You can stay at Vic's house.
No, I'm going to say it right now. Well, but then we'd have to drive all the way back to St. Louis County. I live over by Sam Page now.
I know.
Louis
That's
County
so funny.
Sorry.
the St. Louis County executive. I want to get closer, get over closer to him. No, I do have some room downstairs. But it's the Cancel This kickoff / holiday / Christmas party, whatever you want to make it, 7 p.m. at Wenty's next Thursday, a week from today, the 22nd. Just stop in. You can say hi.
Do you have to wear a mask?
No, come on. Come on.
All right. I'm
Not
just
that
making
kind of
sure.
mask.
They're all in the ocean now, Chris. We talked about about 1.5 billion mask in the ocean. It's going to take 450 years for the biodegradable effect to take place, apparently. So next Thursday, you can join us at Wenty's. You can come say hi. We'll be there. The crew will be there. It'd be good to catch up with people. We do have a Facebook events page that our marketing guy, Alex, with Raising Sales has put out. So that's out there as of this morning. Would love to see you. Allegedly, there's going to be a new Cancel This shot available. So we'll see. They're working on it right now.
I'll try it.
Can't wait.
Well,
I'll be the first one.
Can it get canceled if it's bad?
We'll cancel that mother trucker really fast. And if Chris is buying shots, it's going to have tequila in it. And I don't know about that.
Oh,
You
Come
know
on.
that. So
he's dangerous.
we'll see.
Nah.
We'll see where that goes. We broadcast live from Strategic Air Services. Chris, you're an aviation guy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. Walk around, see some of the things that are going on.
I don't want to mention any names, but these gentlemen are top notch here.
No question.
They have done a fantastic job with this business.
And you're not just saying that.
No,
Strategic
No.
Air Services
no.
in the Chesterfield, Missouri area. And that's another reason jumping on Wenty's. It's just right down the street from where we are. So we appreciate that. Guys, last night I was at a event and it was great to see. A lot of people know Eric Schmidt in the state of Missouri. You may know him if you're outside the state of Missouri because he challenged the Biden administration multiple times and was winning. So people were worried when he ran for U.S. Senate, won the seat being vacated. So by Roy Blunt. So he is now a U.S. Senator. Well, people are like, oh my God, who's going to take over for him? Those are huge shoes to fill in the state of Missouri. I met that man last night, Andrew Bailey. And just wait. If you liked Eric Schmidt,
Yes.
you're going to love Andrew Bailey.
Can't wait.
He is every bit Eric Schmidt, if not more. He's a veteran. He's a younger guy. He and his wife were really big into the adoption process. They've adopted children. They just had one of their own, went to Mizzou Law School. And when I heard him speak last night, wow.
No,
This-
what kind of event was it? Like a
was a fundraiser.
fundraiser, something?
Yeah, I was
along those
invited
lines?
to a fundraiser for Andrew Bailey. He and his wife showed up. Fantastic.
I
Big
didn't
time.
get the invite.
Neither did I.
Well, next time I got one late.
I'm just kidding.
I was just glad. I told him about the studio that we have. He's excited. He says he can't wait to join us on the show.
Good.
Loves what we're doing
Good.
here. So Missouri's next Attorney General will be joining us on Cancel This. We're great. I can't normally I like to, and Chris and I've talked about this, undersell and over deliver. I can't over deliver enough with this guy. He's going to blow you out of the water. Terrific speaker.
I'm glad to hear that. And I know the people who follow us are looking forward to getting to know him because I've heard so many mixed thoughts on what people think of him. And of course, those are preconceived notions because we don't know anything about him yet.
Have they ever heard or talked to him?
I'm sure they have not. I'm sure people don't know anything other than what we can find online.
That's what I'm curious to find. Now, he worked in the AG's office previously as well. So he knows what was going on. I was just blown away. And I'm going to predict it right now. Yes, we want him to do the job of Missouri Attorney General. But just like Eric Schmidt, who's having success, guys, there'll be something down the road. I'm just telling you. I mean, governor, senator, something. I'm like, I hope he's happy in that AG role. He raised a lot of money last night already because he was appointed to this role. So he did not get elected to this role, just like Eric Schmidt. Missouri Attorney General moves on. So he's replacing Eric. So he will have to run again. So that's why he was in Chesterfield raising money last night. But just a terrific guy. Okay, guys, I have a question. And I don't want to seem, I don't know, callous or caught up or childish or catty. But
watch out.
If you are in Facebook or Instagram, and Instagram, you have reels. In Facebook, you have stories or vice versa, or they're both called the same thing. You know what I'm talking about. You can post a story, you can post a reel. It's not public so that everybody can see if they liked it, so you know who watched it.
Right.
But if it's private, if it's one of those reels or stories, nobody likes it, but you, the person, the creator of the content, can see who liked it.
Right.
Right. Well, I've done like 4 or 5 of them since I was fired from Fox 2. And guess who 2 of the first people are to look at my reels?
Let me
every
guess.
time?
Until after
I
you
want
say
to
it
guess.
today.
I want to guess. Let me guess.
You okay, Chris, go ahead.
It has to be one of your bosses from Fox.
Try both of them.
Oh my God.
Now, do you think it's
Sounds about
because
right.
is it because they like you and they want to see what you're doing, or are they trying to sue you and they're like, let's catch him talking about us?
But there's nothing to sue me about. You know, where it's a podcast. I wouldn't say anything bad about them. I'm just curious. I couldn't get any calls back, as we talked about in our episode that we have audio, what happened to Vic and the full story of what happened, that I wasn't allowed to say publicly when I was set up for a month. It's very interesting that I couldn't get any calls back, and no, we're not firing you, and no, we're your attorneys now. Don't talk to anybody. Don't let people know what happened to you. And then all of a sudden, they didn't want anything to do with me.
They probably miss you now. They probably realize they made a big mistake.
And now they're creeping my stories. They're creeping my reels.
Or their ratings are going like this.
Right.
Well, we already.
And there's that too.
So it was just interesting. I love to see them pop up when they do. I just smile and I show my friends, and I was just. So should I take that as a feather in my cap? That's what I was just
so.
I
wondering.
would take it as kind of a compliment, actually. I mean, I don't see where there's any problems there. I would encourage them to keep watching.
Yeah. I would invite them on as a guest
Right.
anytime.
Maybe they'll ask you to come back.
No,
I mean, if Eric was here, he'd
we are
be
not going back
Elliot
to
Davis.
we are not going back to local news, as in ever, because we've got something better going on here. This is where we can actually talk and tell the full story. I just found it very, very interesting that was going on. So I didn't want to come across weird. I just want.
I think it's a good thing.
I think so too.
Maybe they like me. Maybe they felt bad. Maybe they felt like they didn't have a choice. So that's fine.
Maybe all of your followers from there have followed you here and they don't have anyone left.
That's it, Tab.
That's
it.
Maybe that's it as well. So we thank you for jumping in for canceltheshow.com. Canceltheshow.com. We are a podcast, and we save that content. You can catch us on all of our previous shows. We all need oil. We all talk about it all the time. Well, yesterday, Chris, Tabitha brought up the fact, and that oil, even though it's referred to as a fossil fuel, is not really a fossil fuel. And we got a lot of people wanting to talk about it. So Tabitha, jump right on in, because I know you can't wait to talk about this.
There's no such thing as fossil fuel. Oil, the oil reserves we have, the oil that we drill for, that's a natural element of the earth, and it regenerates itself. There's an endless supply of oil. And I have no idea why back in the day they came up with the term fossil fuel. I am fully convinced that back then they tried to sham everybody, just like they do now with climate change, etc. And if you say, hey, there's only a limited supply of oil, it was deposited here from dinosaur bodies, and we only have a tiny bit left, then you're going to be able to get a good price for it, right? But there's no such thing as fossil fuel. Oil regenerates itself. The earth has plenty of fuel of oil, and it always will. it'll continue to regenerate.
Did you do your research on this, Tab?
Many times, yes.
Chris, somebody said that.
Chris is like, she's crazy. But I promise, Chris, if you look it up, I promise it's true.
I trust you.
I just looked at the comment line and somebody said, Chris looks like he's dressed like a priest today.
Yes, that's it.
That's exactly what you were going for.
That's right.
Tabitha, when it comes to the fossil fuel, do you think that was named because of what was coming, that there was a secondary meaning for that to try to attach it?
Absolutely so. I think that whenever I think they intentionally called it fossil fuel. They intentionally wanted to mislead people to believe that this was leftover deposits from the dinosaur age, because that means it's scarce. There isn't much of it. That means they can charge higher prices for it. They can rule the world.
Scarcity.
With it. That's exactly right. And there's no question, it's been a lie and a sham all along.
Well, I know some people who study the subject and study the topic and say that we have more oil underneath our country than what we would ever need, but we're not drilling. We're not trying to use it. We have that base, that natural base underneath our soil right now, but we're not using it. And it's all set up. It's all a game. And then, of course, we know when the gas prices go up and down and all around, and here we are wondering what's going on, and we're chasing the puck around from here to there. And we really don't have to be.
We do not have to be. We absolutely not.
Well, Joe doesn't know that we have oil.
He doesn't even know where he's at.
No,
he has no idea what's going on. No. But that's the first thing that Joe Biden did. Remember, he canceled all the oil and gas leases. He shut down the construction to the Nord Stream 2. I mean, it was the very first topic on his list.
Well, our comment line is blowing up with Rockefeller. Yes, it was a Rockefeller marketing scheme.
It was. Yes, it was.
Explain, please.
Well, exactly what it's exactly what I have explained. That our government is no different now than what it was then. It's the same back and forth. And back then, it was just a scam, just like we have a scam right now over climate change. Look at all the billions of dollars, probably trillions of dollars, who have gone to Al Gore and all these folks talking about, oh, the earth is going to freeze over. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, we're not freezing. Now the earth is going to warm over. Give us more money. Let's fund all this research. It's just a big money laundering scam, just like climate change. But back then, it was called fossil fuel. We have more oil than we will ever need. It will never dissipate. It regenerates itself. It's part of the Earth's process.
I've been told that our political officials in the highest of offices, that they know this.
Of course they do.
And they're giving proof of this, but we don't get to put it out in the national media because we all know when it comes to money, when it comes to what drives the economy or takes it back down, giving people a chance to invest and not invest and make money. Oh, it's all around oil.
And look how many people have made a fortune on the sale of oil, including the Bushes. I mean, many of our own presidents in this country, our own leaders, have made a fortune on the sale of oil. Of course, they're going to keep up the propaganda.
Well, Dave Meyer from our chat line says dinosaurs are fake as well. We'll put the video chat line in. I'll put it in. I'd love to talk to you about that because
me too.
I saw bones myself pulled out of Missouri dirt.
Were they bones or were they?
Oh, Tabitha's going to defend them.
There we go.
Tabitha.
I'm kind of 50-50 on the dinosaurs.
Okay. You don't believe that there was dinosaurs?
I'm 50-50 on it.
Have you seen Jurassic Park?
I have.
I mean, you don't think there's a real T-Rex?
I've seen what people dig up in the ground that say are fossilized dinosaur bones, but I've also seen the videos of when they find these bones. It looks like rocks, and they say, "Oh, that looks like a dinosaur bone to me." And then they lift it up and carve it out. Is it really a dinosaur bone? I don't know.
Well, maybe that one.
You need to.
I side more than it does believe than I don't.
You didn't see my story on dinosaur. The first ones being found here in the state of Missouri, did you?
No, but I have.
Their bones.
I have read about it.
No,
I didn't see your story though.
They're real.
I did see yours.
They're real AF. Let's just put it that
I agree.
way.
Dinosaur bones. I believe that they
were first found in the 1920s, and then now they're digging. And Tabitha, they're pulling out stuff right now, which really gets back to where water once was.
Oh, no question about
on this planet throughout this country.
We were underwater right here at one point.
And man, it's.
I guess I believe that there are bones out there that belong to big creatures. I don't believe that if you look at a movie like Jurassic Park, that all of those creatures existed. If that makes sense.
Well, I think there's some Hollywood play there too. They haven't dug up all those
Correct.
fossils, correct?
Right.
All those species.
No, that's all right. I'm gonna get my contact on
I would
who
love to hear
found
that.
no, and then you're gonna talk to him
I would love it.
because he is absolutely amazing. I still St. Genevieve is now where the state historical dinosaur museum is, because the man who runs that facility is the man who took over this dig, which were first found in the 20s, but the guy who found them originally ran out of money to continue to do this. So they just sat there, and then people's like, oh, those are just cow heads. And then they pulled it out and it was a baby dinosaur. Then right next to it, they found a massive dinosaur, the same type, first of its kind ever found. And it was found in the state of Missouri. And it was like 10 times the size as the mom that was right there with it.
So did they send them
And they're
bones
taking
off
this-
to a lab?
Absolutely. The Chicago Institute of something.
Archaeology, maybe, or
Oh, what's the name of it? I'm sorry. Somebody will jump in on the comment line. They came down, they sent their team, they verified that it was the first of its kind to be found ever, and it was in the state of Missouri. And then as they dug, they're like, wait a second. Then they found a turtle that was like 20 times the size, 30 times the size of the biggest turtles we have now. And I saw that for myself, and they pulled that out. And then they're like, well, maybe there's more here. Then they started digging and finding more and more. And those digs are currently going on right now down about 50 miles outside of the Cape Girardeau area.
and then they found a time
Wow.
capsule with a canceled this podcast.
Yeah.
That's right.
Probably. I believe all sorts of things existed in our history. I believe that at one point in time, we had technology either similar to what we have now or better. And then somehow we did something and we backtracked and ended up back in the Stone Ages. That's
Yeah,
a Friday story.
I'm checking right now. I'm checking to see if my stories have all been eliminated too from Fox 2. But if it's in there, you might be able to find
Yeah, I would love to see that.
the dinosaur story. It was massive. I went worldwide with this story, and then I went worldwide when I left Fox 2 as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, on both.
Oh,
But all I can find
I
is
didn't
the
know that.
articles about me being fired.
Of course.
I'm looking for the dinosaur story right now.
But you're a believer
'Cause-
because you saw it with your own eyes.
Hell yes, I'm a believer because I saw it with my own eyes. Yeah, I found the story here.
I don't, Tabitha. How do you explain them finding those? It's not like someone dug them up and buried them and then redug them up.
Well,
I
I didn't see the specific ones.
Oh, my
Vic
name's
is
still
talking
attached to
about.
it. That's awesome.
oh, so you weren't canceled on that story?
No, my stories were not
Oh,
canceled.
okay. All
The
right.
story
Can't cancel that.
Right.
No, seriously, it's I found it under fox2now.com, and it's under skeleton of new dinosaur species discovered in Missouri.
I can't wait to see it. My grandmother is from that area. We're very near.
So that means
where
you'll
they
believe
found
it now
that.
because grandmama is from there
She didn't tell me anything about seeing dinosaurs.
because she didn't know yet.
That's right.
She didn't know Vic Faust yet and his dinosaur story.
I do. One thing I will say, I find it extremely fascinating. I really do. The Earth's history, how long the Earth was here, what type of animals were here, what type of humans were here. Kasha Stocky on the comment line said, "Do you believe in giants?" There's a lot of evidence,
Mhm.
allegedly, that at one point there were a human species that were
It's
like
biblical.
giants.
It's because it's
Absolutely.
biblical. It
And,
is
and I
biblical.
believe that they existed. I do.
I do too.
Andre the giant.
That's
Bingo.
right.
All right, the dinosaur that was discovered was called a Parasaurus missouriensis in the Show Me State. Right here in the Show Me State. We'll get Guy Duro on.
Love it.
And by the way, it was the Chicago's Field Museum
Oh, that makes sense.
that
Yeah.
came down. And you have some Chicago contacts.
Yep,
You
I
were there
spent
for a
many
while.
field trips there, going to the Field Museum in
Yeah,
school.
Pete McAvicky is the director, and I spoke to him personally. He's like, "Yep, you guys found a brand new dinosaur in Missouri, and
I
they're
love it.
still digging." So yes,
What do you mean a brand new dinosaur?
a
Like one
species,
that's
a
never been
species.
discovered?
Yeah, a new species.
Hmm.
A new species. It was a plant-eating one. It's big, but a plant-eating one. And Tabitha, before we get off the subject, I had to find out what happened that made you not believe in dinosaurs?
It's not that I don't, like I said, I'm kind of 50-50. I'm really
No,
maybe
but what
more like
makes you
40,
okay?
60.
But what makes
because
you not?
I've never seen it with my own eyes. I'm one of those people, I have to see something with my own eyes.
So you think
to
all the
really
skeletons
believe
in
it.
museums are fake?
I think that these days anything can be fake. And the videos that I have seen of anthropologists digging up dinosaur bones, to me, it looks like they walk out into a field and see a big lime rock with a couple dents in it and say, "Oh, that looks like dinosaur's eyes. Let's carve a dinosaur bone out of that."
But what about all the other bones that put an entire one together?
Well, when you go back and look, usually what they're recovering is not bones, not the bones themselves. Usually what they're recovering is a fossil. So it's an imprint of a bone on a rock. So a lot of the ones that I have personally seen have been fossils, not actually bones.
But
So
Tab, I have to disagree because they have found a lot of bones.
and that's what I'm saying.
Dinosaur
I've just
bones.
not seen it with my own eyes. I've seen videos of fossilized bones, but that's a different story than actual bones.
Right.
So I've not personally seen the actual bones. I've seen fossils. Fossils are a whole different thing.
You do live in the
If
show
that
me
makes
state. You do live in the show me state. So you're not going to believe it until you see it, right?
But I take Vic's word for it. But I am just one of those people. I have to see it to believe it with my own eyes, and then I'll believe it.
Well, from our comment line, so does that mean, Tabitha, that you don't believe in God since you haven't seen him?
Or have you seen him?
I do believe
That's
in
a good
God.
point.
And
But-
I have seen and I've told this story on the show before, what I believe are angels. I saw someone pass away
So you
many
have to
years
see,
ago.
but you have to see something before you
And I
believe it.
saw two people there with this woman before she
Yeah, but you
passed
didn't
away.
see God.
Well, no, I didn't see God, but I believe that there's a higher power that I believe would be God. But I believe maybe a different version of God, maybe than some people. I think God is energy.
Yeah, from the Facebook line too. You won't find bone when it comes to these dinosaur skeletons. All bone that survives becomes fossilized.
Exactly.
Is what Tabitha was saying. Otherwise, they deteriorate.
Exactly. So what they're digging up are rocks formed by bones, allegedly, but they're not finding the actual bones.
But they have found actual.
I don't know. If they have, I haven't seen it.
Have you seen Bigfoot running around the woods?
I don't believe in Bigfoot. I really do not.
What? How could you? I saw a TikTok video where a guy has a head of a Bigfoot, and he said, "They're coming for me. They're coming for me." But I got this here. My dad always said, "Son, if you show that Bigfoot head, they're gonna come for you." And he said, "I don't care, Dad. It's time. I got to show people what's going on."
See what happens
It's
when you
real.
legalize weed. I mean,
You start seeing things.
So
I don't believe in Bigfoot.
Okay, so you don't believe in Bigfoot.
I really do not. I just do not.
Well, Eric talks about chupacabras, whatever those are.
I don't believe in those either.
What was it?
chupacabras.
Chupacabra.
The hell's that?
That's like a Mexican demon or something.
Yeah, but I think though,
Leave it
so,
to Eric to think about.
I
a
found
Mexican
fossils of
demon.
it though,
so
so it
many
must be
people.
real.
No. That's just like a wolf or a coyote with mange. That's all that is.
What about the tooth fairy?
Dude,
I definitely believe in the tooth fairy. For all those kids out there listening, and Santa Claus, and the
Okay.
Easter Bunny.
Hey, I say I always keep an open mind. If somebody could prove to me that the dinosaurs are not real, I would be all over it, Tabitha, because I do believe 100% in dinosaurs. Now, if you want to break that down and what it is, that's fine. But when I went through digs and looked at digs from the 20s, 1920s, that is, digs that were taking place in even before that, in the decades before that, and the pictures that I've seen and the things that have been pulled out of the country, I do. I do, because I saw it with my own eyes. And then I started to talk to the anthropologist and look at some of the studies that they had done and some of the pictures that they have. And I'm like, and then you see massive land where they have it. It's not just mud imprints and like, oh, we're going to fill that in with concrete or some sort of plaster and make a bone out of it. They were actual, whatever you guys say is fossilized something.
So, do you believe that Yellowstone erupted and that's what killed all of the dinosaurs? Or are you in the camp that believes it was an asteroid
It was an asteroid.
that killed the
Asteroid.
dinosaurs?
I would be more about an asteroid.
Yeah, because it sent us into the ice age, right? That's the story, is that we got hit by an asteroid and it sent us to an ice age, which therefore killed all the dinosaurs.
Was fine. Santa is real.
Yes,
Have you
Santa
seen
is
Santa?
real.
Santa.
I was a good
I
boy
know
this
him.
year. I hope Santa brings me a nice present this year. Can't wait till Christmas.
Lizzie says Tabitha's a true show me state gal. Lizzie also
What are you
says
laughing?
that Santa is real. And have you seen Santa come in?
Were you a good boy
Many
this year?
times.
Yes, I was. Yes. Or as I like to say, good enough.
Good.
You got to be
enough.
good enough.
That's right.
Hey, by the way, coming up at 8:05, we're going to talk with Jeff Roorda, the former St. Louis Police business manager. He joined us on the Viper a few years ago. It'd be good to get him in when he heard that we were doing
Like
this
Jeff.
project. He messaged me. He's like, when he heard the stories, like I knew something else happened before what was brought public. There was no doubt in my mind because I know you have been around you for years. And he's like, if you're doing a show and you're going to focus on any sort of cancel culture education,
Yeah.
whether you thought that it happened to you or not, he's like, you need to have me on the show. So hopefully, Jeff, he always speaks freely. Maybe we'll get something new out of him today as well. But St. Louis City Police have a new police chief that they brought in yesterday. Very interesting pick to me. We'll ask Jeff's opinion on it because they
Out of
brought
New York.
Delaware.
Delaware.
Is that what it was? I thought I'd seen something posted online.
But he had
Wilmington,
experience
Delaware.
in Chicago and New York.
Okay.
And,
White guy, which I have to say is surprising.
And
I never expected to see another white chief of police.
Is he
for
a
the city of St.
liberal,
Louis.
though?
well, how do you know?
I don't know.
And we shouldn't know.
Well, we're going to
that.
find out.
How would we know or
I
find
think
out?
most police officers are not liberals, but
But
I have
he's
a-
a police chief.
but he is a police chief, a commissioner technically.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. He is from the East Coast. There's a lot more liberalism in Delaware than there is in the
you
Midwest.
betcha.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think the chances of him being liberal are strong,
Right.
are very strong. But we'll find out.
But an interesting quote, and we'll ask Jeff about it. He did say that the police plan needs to be posted on a website so that everybody can see, everybody knows what we're doing to eliminate crime. And apparently, allegedly, one of his specialties is stopping violent crime. So they had a lot of success in Wilmington, Delaware. I was like, when I was reading that article, the first thing that came out of my mouth, I was like, baby, this is St. Louis, Missouri.
But will
Right.
he
This
be
ain't Wilmington, Delaware. And there's other people that are in the mix.
There
Is that what
are.
you're gonna say?
Well, what I'm saying is, I will he be able to even allow? Will he be able to do the job? That in no police chief, in my opinion, has been able to do the job they would like to do.
I agree with you, Jeb, and I don't want to cut you off. I think that there's other people that need to do their job before the police chief can
Agreed.
do his. And that would start with the prosecuting attorney, and that's a problem.
It is. I've known several of the police chiefs in the city of St. Louis, some better than others. And I will tell you, they have all felt like they can't do their job. The mayor is the one who tells them how to run the police department. Their hands are tied. And the ones that I know feel like they could have done a better job, but they were never given the opportunity to do so.
Another interesting topic that I'd like to get to before we take our first break, which would be in probably 12 minutes. And I think this will be enough. And it's interesting. We have, oh no, we don't have the mic on over there. I was like, we'll get it. Eric just walked in the studio. Good morning, Eric. Eric, before you get close to us, are you feeling all right?
Man, I
was told that you're feeling sick.
Chris, you look good on
no.
camera.
Do
By
I
the way.
look good?
I want to comment on your dinosaur topics.
Yes.
It sounded like you guys trying to explain the history of polka music. You know nothing about what the hell you guys are talking about. Why don't you tell me a
You
little bit?
outed us.
I mean,
I want to know about this Mexican dinosaur that you're talking
It's not a
about.
dinosaur.
What the hell
Tabitha is. You know what? Your
What
last
is
name
it?
should be information that I could call you misinformation because you are killing me. There are damn dinosaurs. What is wrong with
How do you know? Have you
Mm.
seen one with your own eyes?
Is there a King Tut? Was there a King Tut?
You're just seeing rocks. I could go out in the
What is
parking
wrong with
lot
you?
and
You-
carve out a dinosaur and say, "Oh, I found one. It looked just like a dinosaur to me."
Do you think that people for the last 200 years would have spent the time putting together Tyrannosaurus Rexes
Yeah, it
and,
makes money.
and raptors and all that other stuff?
Hey, I
Oh,
believe in dinosaurs.
I know. What is wrong?
Hell yes, there are
I
dinosaurs.
want to believe in everything Tabitha says,
Yeah.
but how the hell can I believe in everything you say if you bring up stuff like that? Come on, man.
I'm
Come
cynical.
on.
I'm cynical. Just
Even
like
Eric said
someone on
the
the comment line said.
chupacabra doesn't
The damn
exist,
chupacabra. It's just a damn mangy dog. That's all it is.
but the dinosaur does.
A mangy dog.
I need my coffee. Let me get my coffee.
Get
All
your
right.
coffee. Go back to the mic because Eric, I've got something that's going to get you excited today.
Go on, girl.
Because girl,
I'm sorry. It's early. Go.
Like, what?
I'm not even wearing makeup today, or not that much.
All right.
Eric.
Sorry, I'm fired up.
It's if you didn't know, and this needs to be, we need to just call you Backlash because
Yes.
Eric first started talking about Backlash about 2 years ago. Eric, that's a band name, Backlash.
Tonight at the pageant. Meet Meat glue and backlash.
Backlash.
Go.
Eric's always talked about backlash, how it was coming, and it started to, and how it continues to come. In all of my life in the last 5 years, I didn't think there was any way in hell I would ever read a headline like this. I'm not so sure it's going to go mainstream, but it is happening at one institution of higher learning. How about this? The University of Austin has raised $100 million to fight wokeness.
Ooh.
They established last year a free speech alternative to other colleges, and it's raised $100 million thanks to donors who cancel this products just like this, and said that they're concerned about America's future and its global standing.
Yeah.
And they told this to Fox News. So now they're gaining popularity. They said, quote, "This is an issue of global competitiveness," warning that China's dedication will ultimately give the authoritarian nation an advantage over the U.S. because they're teaching what they should be teaching.
Well, what's the surprise?
Well, it's no surprise to you, Eric, but it is to everyday American citizens who are comfortable going, oh, well, it's our kids go to college and,
but this is going to come to a head.
This is one school. This is the University of Austin. One school. But it's
University of Austin. That's fascinating. That's a very liberal area down there.
Well, sometimes when you get hit by it and you weren't liberal for a long time,
you nailed it.
But you're like, what the
Yep.
I'm going to fight and do what I can.
It's interesting. Very liberal area, Austin, Texas. If you've been down there, it's the River Walk and all of that stuff, and it's super liberal. I'm wondering if this has to do with the fact they're going to have 1 million new immigrants coming across that border, destroying that town. I really do, because everything is happening to them at the same time. Woke culture, illegal immigration. I mean, this is a city. If you've ever been to Austin or Houston,
I love
Have
Austin.
you ever been down there?
I've been to
San
Austin,
Antonio?
I've been to San Antonio twice.
Fantastic.
And I've been to Austin twice.
Yeah.
Not a fan of San Antonio, but a huge fan of Austin, Texas.
Well, get ready.
And it is by far one of the best college towns in America.
Exactly. I'm just wondering if they're like, this was too little, too late. Remember we talked about Chris. Chris is in the aviation industry here. Remember we talked last year about if you're a pilot and you see a wall in front of you or a mountain and you don't start pulling up fast enough, like the Titanic saw the iceberg and it didn't turn fast enough. What happened to it? Boom, it went down.
Allegedly. There are reports.
Oh my God, please, for the love of God, the Titanic hit an iceberg and it went down.
I'm starting to hear that a bomb
in the middle of the damn Atlantic
I'm
Ocean.
starting to hear a bomb was maybe in there.
It did. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So what is happening? That's a great story, Vic. There are a lot of colleges. The Ozark University or something. Is that the one in the middle of the country? It's completely conservative. They make no. I think that the tuition is free, but people work for their tuition down there. It's a crazy concept. But there are all kinds of colleges that are just done with this woke garbage. They're like, what happened? We thought that we were being PC, politically correct. They can't. This is unsustainable.
Well, does this sound familiar to you? Their concept here. Tell me if you've heard of any other place that does this. Quote, the Forbidden Classes program is what it's called. It's held in person, and it's a class where diverse views, actually people who hold different opinions, are presented about topics that we wouldn't or couldn't or shouldn't even be talking about.
Yeah.
Where else does that happen? Tries to happen right here. Cancel this. That was my goal.
That's what it's all about.
That was my goal when this was created.
Right.
They said, if you have a sincere question, you're welcome to ask that, even if some people may be offended by the question that you have.
Well, yeah. I mean, is this
does this not make sense?
Is it a whole curriculum or is it a culture or what is it? I mean, is it on the books? How does this work exactly?
It's on the books. It's called the Forbidden Classes.
The Forbidden Classes. And we're talking about George Washington and we're talking about Abraham Lincoln.
Well, here's one thing that they did. And guess what? Reminds me of us. One recent forbidden class subject. They hosted a debate on gender ideology between between a trans economist and one who is fighting the trans ideology, not trans people. So they went back and forth in a class, talking, debating, where all sides are heard. Truth from everybody's opinion heard, where everybody can be represented. what better way to learn?
Right.
Well, no,
than
you're
one-
right.
Yeah.
Than one liberal professor giving his or her opinion without another message.
Yeah. Can you imagine what was that Mark guy? I should be he should be a famous guy on this show already. But imagine getting all of your information from people like that Mark guy from Cardinal Ritter the other day.
Mark Kaysen, a professor.
Mark
from Cardinal
Kaysen.
Ritter.
Imagine that. Just to put that in the back of your head for a second.
He's
Having
but in his circles, he is loved, respected, and revered.
fantastic. And so is Sammy Hagar, and we know how that turned out. So it's
Pretty damn well.
okay. I think that it. I think that we are in a things are coming to a head. California is trying to give $350,000 to every African American in California. Have no idea how you're going to do that. Political correctness is just destroying every city in the country.
Joe Biden sent South Africa $8 billion to shut down their coal plants.
Yes. You know what? You don't need these coal plants. You know those huts you've been living in? They're fine.
Yeah, they're great.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Oh man.
You know, you're fine. You don't like this third world stuff. It's overblown. You don't need this garbage.
Right.
That is so abusive that Biden is going over to Africa and saying you don't.
Well, he's trying to
need
keep
this.
them out of BRICS. That's what that's all about.
Bingo.
Because South Africa is part of BRICS. Biden, right now the world is
Speaking,
dividing.
Tabitha.
People are countries have to choose sides right now.
Tabitha's
They
ahead of her
have
time.
to-
Listen to this.
They have to choose NATO or they have to choose BRICS. One or the other. The world is dividing. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, there's that big war impending between Kosovo and Serbia. Serbia has applied to join Russia. Kosovo has applied to join the European Union. The world is dividing, and we want, not me, but the NATO wants South Africa.
I know that this may be a foreign language to many people, but it is a subject that is massive on the world scale that will eventually trickle down to all of us very comfortable people in the United States.
It sounds like foreign language right now to a lot of people who aren't familiar with BRICS and the division that's taking place, but it is a power shift that is just unimaginable.
So Joe's over there. We're talking about wokeness backlash in the United States. And by the way, there is a college. I had hope, and it's in the university. It's in Michigan, and check it out. Some of our people online, it's Hillsdale, and it's a Constitution-based college.
Yeah,
and you have to have a 30 to get in ACT.
Mhm.
I mean, it's almost impossible to get in there. And Eric, the good Division II football program. They're up and coming.
Good.
Blew my mind what they teach, and all Constitution based. And they kind of came out of some people who despised, because the University of Michigan, and a lot of people like Michigan, and sports is one of the most liberal universities in America by far.
No doubt.
When you break down the list of what's being taught, how many people, their professors are there, what they teach, when they come, the University of Michigan, the most liberal school in America, one of the most liberal.
Right.
There's a lot of great people that go there that don't agree with liberalism because it's such a large university. But then people wanted to be exactly opposite of what they were seeing at Michigan.
Well,
Hillsdale.
It's not surprising anymore. Tabitha talked about BRICS and the world dividing. The United States has already started to divide. You're either liberal and subscribe to all this garbage, or you want to be conservative and protect the greatest bastion of freedom that has ever existed on the planet Earth. So there's your choices. You are either a globalist and you want to make as much money in the global market as you can, and you can't do that if there's these countries getting in your way and with all the rules and regulations. And it's a time where I'm hoping that we're not being overwhelmed. I'm hoping that we didn't just get hit by a tsunami of stuff, that we can turn this around. I don't know, man.
It'll take a lot.
I don't
of
know.
time.
I mean, who are the champions of freedom anymore? Is it the Koch brothers with their money? Is it Elon Musk? Who are the people that we can put our hat on to say, man, take us out of this, Elon? I mean, does that sound right to you? Take us out of this, Koch brothers.
It's going to be so much worse.
If Elon Musk is our savior and our hero, I'm a little worried.
Okay.
I am.
Is
I
it
love
Oprah
what he
Winfrey?
is. Oh my God.
It's not going to be
No.
any of those people. It's going to be ourselves. And we're not there yet because we're not yet sitting in our house in the dark. We're not yet without fuel. We're not yet starving. And until those things happen, nothing is going to change.
And a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's putting your faith in God, because
Really? Absolutely.
when you break down what is happening to this country, what's been put in place, and where we are headed, I don't know how we get out of it. I mean,
We hit
Poetic.
rock bottom and then we fight back.
Kamala Harris will help us a lot.
who, Kamala?
Oh my God. They are trying to put lipstick on that pig. I'm telling you right now.
I
They
know.
are. I'm not saying her personally. I'm just saying figuratively. They're trying right now desperately behind the scenes to say that she is a very. What you see is not actually Kamala Harris. That's the news reporting right now coming out of a lot of periodicals. Did I say periodicals?
That's
Is
fine.
that even a word anymore?
That's all right.
That they're trying to build her up from the inside, saying what you see, she's only working for the administration. She's actually very competent.
They need a massive campaign right now. They do. But
If something's going on, Biden's not running. I'm telling you what,
I think he is.
he's getting frustrated behind the scenes. I think whatever the pressure is that's keeping him in office, guys, he does not make any decisions. He reads a
Of course not.
teleprompter. That's it. Get over it. Someone else is pushing the buttons. Whoever's pushing the buttons is looking at Joe and going, we can get Kamala elected. You got to go.
we will talk more about that. We're also going to talk about Elon since he came up. Couple issues. One regarding his son in a car and somebody attacking the car that was driving his son. And did Elon lie on his immigration status, which would force him to be deported? We're going to get into
you're
this.
just digging all over the place.
There
I'm
we
just
go.
telling you,
Yeah.
we got
There
all the
we
stories.
go.
But don't go anywhere. When we come back, a can't miss interview, a cancel this interview with Jeff Roorda, the former business manager with St. Louis Police. Maybe we're going to uncover some things. We're going to find out what happened because he said maybe saying it tongue in cheek that if we were doing canceled education, he would be a great guest to talk about it. Had some issues with the St. Louis Circuit Attorney, like a lot of people, but
Yes.
we'll see. We got a full house today here on a Thursday. It is December 15th, just about halfway through this month. Full house, Scotty Gherkin running the boards. Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, Tab of the Hassle. I'm Vic Faust. This is Cancel This. Go to cancelthisshow.com. Click on where to stream. And as always, please share the show if you like what we're doing. That's how we grow. That's how we expand, by you getting involved. And we appreciate the interaction you have. We had over 1,000 comments yesterday. That's because of,
Fantastic.
and we're averaging about 900 a day. That's because of
Good.
you guys. We'll share some of the numbers. Alex from our marketing team gave me some of those yesterday. The reach that we have had primarily on Facebook. We're just starting to scratch the surface on YouTube and Rumble right now, and then getting into Apple. It's amazing, and it's because of you. Also, next Thursday night, 7 p.m. at Wendy's. You can come meet us. Come have a drink with us. Come have an appetizer. Come hang out. We'll be at Wendy's next Thursday, 7 p.m. for our kickoff party. We're going to take a quick break. Back with Jeff Roorda. And welcome back, everybody, to Cancel This. You can go to cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tab of the Hassle. Eric Johnson, Scotty Gherkin on the boards, and Chris Knight jumping in whenever he wants to. It's what we are. Big crew, full house today. It is Cancel This. Of course, you can jump in on our website and check out all of the content that we've already produced. We're into our third week right now. You can go to cancelthisshow.com, click on where to stream, and it'll take you to your flavor of choice where you can jump in. Of course, we do news headlines. We do politics. We do society, culture, entertainment, but at the heart of what we do, too, is cancel culture education regarding situations where people may have not been able to speak freely or suffered from speaking freely or doing what they felt was best for a certain situation and maybe suffering the consequences from that. Once again, the party next Thursday, the Winties kickoff party for cancelthisshow.com. You can come out and join us 7 p.m. We'll be there. Eric, you are going to be there, right?
I'm going to try.
No, you're not going to.
We rearranged it for you. I'm going to come to your house and drag you there.
We had great
Am I
Friday
that
night
important?
selections. We had great Saturday night selections. And Eric said, I'm a rock star, man. I'm playing on the weekends. I can only have Thursday nights.
Well, this is a very busy time of the year for rock stars, right, Scotty?
It is. It's a bit. He's like, what does that mean?
It's not actually.
So anyway, we thank you for jumping in again today. Next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Thanks for kicking off. All right. Longtime friend of the show when we were a radio show. Jeff Roorda, former business manager, St. Louis Metropolitan Police, kicking in, joining us. Jeff, good morning. Thanks for jumping in on the show. Hopefully you feel comfortable getting back with us here on the podcast, the live 3-hour podcast.
He looks good, but we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear him yet, but we'll get to him in just a second.
I think the first question you need to ask him is,
We'll
there dinosaurs?
Yeah. We will ask Jeff that question in just a second to make sure that everything is going smooth with that. The good thing is that we see him. So we see him, which means we're going to hear him in just a second. We hadn't caught up with Jeff. He told me he was having his energy drink right before he got ready to jump on. I got to find out what kind of energy drink because I've had to try to back off the energy drinks. Maybe his energy drink is coffee. I know the energy drink is your coffee.
You know, that's right. Got anything to get the brain cells functioning at 7 a.m, right? Jeff, how you doing, man? Can we hear you now?
Hopefully we can hear Jeff now. Oh, that's a bummer. We can't hear Jeff. We'll get him in on here. We know the video link works because we use it with people all the time. We will figure that out here very, very quickly. If not, we'll give Jeff another link.
So let's start listing our questions for him.
Make sure the mic's on.
Yeah, we'll make sure that his mic is on. And if Jeff can hear us, you can go ahead and turn your mic on, and then we'll go from there if your mic isn't on yet. So he's checking on that. I do know that he does plenty of Zoom, so hopefully he understands that and what's going on. So anyway, Eric, you didn't have your say yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, St. Louis City hired a new police chief.
Whoa!
Did you have a chance
to
check that out yet?
First person. Yeah, I mean, hopefully he does a great job. He comes from the Northeast. He basically is. Is he the first police chief that has not been selected from this region? Correct.
Not just this region,
ever
from the St. Louis City Police
Yes.
Department,
Yeah.
the first one ever.
A cis white male police chief. How
What?
about that?
Well, we don't know that.
Huh?
Why do you call him a cis?
We don't know he's
You
cis.
have to. You have to be respectful of other people. That's just the way it is.
So you're
I-
saying he's a straight white man.
a straight white
Is
man.
that what cis means?
Yes.
Straight white man?
I think so.
Then why is it an SWM?
What the heck is an SWM? I'm
A
just
straight white man.
I don't know the answer to my questions that I'm telling you. I just know what I know.
You don't know the answers.
Yeah, I know that like it's like an American a Hoosier trying to learn Spanish. I know like the key words like a doinde and a key and hola, but I don't understand all the other stuff. Yeah, tequila. I'm sorry, but no, it was. I hope he does a good job. I hope that Tashar and the boys over there at City Hall pick someone that's going to clean the streets up. I do remember that in his speech, he was very adamant about being socially conscious a little bit, like he's going to bring the community together. Maybe that is the key to success for the St. Louis region. I do wonder what Tabitha thought. I did put it out there as soon as I saw it. I was wondering, Do you think that this guy is going to be good for St. Louis City in your due
I
diligence and
don't-
your research?
I highly doubt he's even going to have a say in what happens in St. Louis City. I think that his hands are going to be tied behind his back, like
Then
all
what's the
other
purpose?
police chiefs in the city of St. Louis. And I think Tashara Jones is going to be telling him what to do and when to do
So
it.
he's a puppet.
Oh,
Oh.
yes, I absolutely believe he will be a puppet.
I
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong, but I don't believe I'm
Would
wrong.
you love to have been in the office with Tashara and those people? How do you? Because they are very opinionated with the way that the streets of St. Louis should be run, and it deals mainly and primarily with defunding the police. If you don't, I mean, that's the truth.
And we see Jeff. So Jeff, if you jump in and you hear us, let us know that you're there, bud. I appreciate it. I know you said that you switched to your phone.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
There we go.
Oh, we can hear you.
Jeff is
know
going
what
to agree with it.
I couldn't get
Jeff
the
will
mic.
agree with everything I say.
And once again, we introduced who Jeff was as we were starting to talk about it. Jeff, the last time we spoke to you, you were running for a political office. And now what are you up to these days? What's going on in your life? Because people remember you as a business manager. You made a lot of headlines with the circuit attorney going back and forth. And then, of course, running for office. What you got going on?
Well, as you know, I've been canceled as well, Vic. I'm not with the Police Officers Association. Mayor Jones personally demanded that I be replaced. Somebody that wasn't critical of her administration and didn't fight for our police officers. And unbelievably to me, the Police Association president relented to that demand, thinking that he'd be treated better by the mayor, and that remains to be seen, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, it's you were there. I mean, I was just kind of I didn't know who to expect that the police chief would be. When you looked up and you saw Tashara introduce someone from out of town, someone that looks like a beat cop from Brooklyn, New York, what did you think?
Well, I mean, I guess first of all, I think the guy will be on your show in a few months.
Good.
If he does the job well and tries to clean up crime and tries to be a good police chief for both the city and the police officers, Tashara and the gang won't like that much, and he'll be canceled just like Vic and I have been. But
Will they even give him an opportunity, Jeff? I feel like that position, in my opinion, is always a puppet position, and the mayor is always going to tell them what to do and how to run the police department.
Yeah, I mean, I expect that they want him to be a police chief in name only. Now he seems to have a pretty decent reputation, and he's not the guy anybody in the inner circle of law enforcement expected. But she was very divisive and very vocal. She being Tashara Jones when they did the first process, and had several African American applicants who dropped out when they saw what a mess her administration was and what a crime haven she's allowed the city to become. So they did the process all over again, and they got down to 4, and 2 of them were African American, and one of them publicly dropped out, and the other one was in the running for the Cincinnati police chief job, and I've heard he dropped out as well. They just didn't publicize it. So they weren't going to give the acting chief Mike Sack the job because they wanted to go outside. So it was sort of last man standing situation. But I hope somebody lets him in on the secret, which is that Tashara Jones doesn't like police and doesn't expect him to do his job, and she wants to defund and dismantle the police department in favor of her failed social programs.
We're talking with Jeff Roorda, the former business manager of St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. Jeff, you said that you were canceled. What went on with that, maybe behind the scenes with your interaction with the St. Louis Circuit Attorney, Kim Gardner, who obviously will have a big play in the new police chief's role, his actions, what's allowed, what's not allowed, if officers' cases are actually brought forward and heard. What happened with that situation that people may not know about, that maybe you couldn't speak about before, that you can speak about now?
Well, and there are still can't talk about Vic that I'll be talking about a lot more. So, I mean, it was just a case of constant pressure from Kim Gardner and Tashara Jones, mostly Tashara Jones. Nobody really cares what Kim has to say, but Tashara and her mouthpieces, just insisting that the police department wouldn't get a raise and that she would negotiate in good faith with the police officers union while I was there. And I mean, my advice was never going to do you guys well. She's never going to give the officers the raise they deserve. And the fact that us taking her on and speaking out about her bad policies bothers her, it means that we're being successful. But I tell you that 99% of the cops out there agree with that. But the police union president is just a really weak president, and is sort of Neville Chamberlain like.
Yeah. Hey Jeff, can you scoot a little closer to the camera? We're having a hard time hearing you, but the perspective we're getting is kind of like we're all in St. Louis right now, just hoping and praying that we're trying to figure out the dynamic. Is Tashara trying to win this battle, trying to say, hey, I am going to clean up St. Louis, even though that the political push, like you just said, is this woke culture. But at the same time, if Tashara Jones can bring someone in that can actually make a dent in the crime down there, maybe she can win. It's a win-win for her. If she can say, look, I brought crime down X%. I brought this guy in. He's doing a really good job. He's all Tashara to me has to do is show that he found a police chief that has a social conscience, whatever the hell that is. And she can also bring crime down. Maybe that's the win-win for Tashara. Do you kind of agree with that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think she's interested in solving crime through law enforcement. I think that in her misguided beliefs that she genuinely thinks that crime would be solved with all of these social programs. She has a very Marxist point of view, and she wants to transfer wealth. She's showing that with these $500 giveaways. She thinks she's Oprah apparently.
Yeah.
And she thinks that's how you solve crime with giveaways and just by dumping money into social programs. The city has to us it seems like the homeless problem is unmanageable. The city only has 1,000 chronically homeless people, but she spends $22 million on that homeless problem and makes zero progress. And that's because it's such a broken bureaucracy, and the money never goes where it's supposed to go.
Hey Jeff, in regards to salary, I remember back about the time Sam Dotson was police chief. I believe the St. Louis police chief made about $137,000 a year. Now it's up to, what is it, 170 something thousand a year, and they're going to kick in this $100,000 out of the police officers foundation. What is all that about?
Well, they found out through these last really 3 police chief searches. The search that Lyda did to replace Sam, and the 2 searches that the 2 messes that Tashara Jones' administration has gone through trying to find a police chief. That there's this thing called Google, and please have Google St. Louis Police Department, see that it's a colossal mess, and that they're coming to a place that leads the nation in homicides. It probably has the biggest staffing problem in the country. Baltimore Police Department may be worse, but I mean, we're the 2 worst in the country when it comes to police staffing crises. And that you've got the state talking about taking over the police department, the county talking about taking over the police department. I mean, there's this, the walls are closing in on this police department. It's like, to pay $137,000, which is what a police sergeant makes in East Coast police departments, is not going to draw a good candidate. So I mean, they had to ante up. But I mean, there may not be a price where you can get a really high caliber police chief to come and tackle this crime problem and this political quagmire.
Yes.
It is interesting, Jeff, that you bring that up. And here's why I say that, because I saw Detroit pay James Craig years ago almost $300,000 a year. It was over 250 and a massive. They brought him out of California. I think it was Beverly Hills. He had some experience in other crime-riddled cities like this Tracy does or did in his past. And there was a lot of uproar. So I'm not opposed to giving money to somebody as long as you give that person the power to do the job that they need. Craig was given that power in Detroit. And look at Detroit's crime numbers. They dropped within 3, 4, 5 years. And it was with more police, and it was taking care of police. And we witnessed it firsthand. This isn't just, hey, if you do this, it may work, or we think it's going to work. They did that, and it worked. And he was elevated to the point where he got such great status in the state of Michigan that he was looking at running for governor. And he still may run for governor because of the job that he did in the city. There is a major disconnect in the city. It's bad. And we can talk about it, and people can bring race into the mix and all kinds of other things. But the bottom line are people are dying. People are having their cars stolen. Violent crime continues to happen. And then apologists are there saying, well, crime has always happened. It's always going to be there. Whatever, this and that. And they're not doing anything about it. I'm not opposed to extra money. I am opposed if the other people who are part of that job are a problem there. But I have seen it happen in Detroit where they turned things around because everybody was on the same page. And they certainly weren't talking about reimagining police departments. And we even had Jeff, a former gang unit director from a St. Louis guy, join us last week. And he said he was all about BLM and he's a Democrat. And he said, but guess what? There's no deterrent like having police on every corner. And that's a problem in St. Louis.
Right. They have them on no corners. They're 350 officers down, probably more than that. That's where they were when I left. And, here's the problem. On the rare outcome that this new fellow is able to move the needle on crime, you know what Tishaura's going to do? She's got a playbook. She's going to say what she says to everybody. She's going to say to him, go sit down, which is what she says to everybody that doesn't fully agree with her. And she's going to say, hooray for me. These social programs are working, and we've finally made progress on crime because of my social programs. Ain't I great? And it's going to just further devolve the morale of the police department and undermine this guy. So I mean, he's in a very no-win situation with the mayor like the one we've got.
Why can't we have it's like this. It's a football team that punts on first down all the time. They think that that's the new strategy, but they can't. You would never be able to win a game that way.
That's a great analogy.
You know what I mean? It's like the
maybe second down. The social programs are first down.
Yeah, you run a dive play on first down. But it to me, it's like, can't we just have? It seems like this is not science that needs to be reinvented. It's the wheel. But the people who are making wheels, it's like Goodyear making square tires. The round one works just fine.
But then when Jeff was speaking up about these issues and defending what he says was the police department, the men and women that were in that police department, he told us he was canceled because the city went in and said, hey, you better get rid of this guy. He's making too much noise.
Right.
And you also had the Ethical Society of Police, which is made up of African Americans. And guess what society or what group more African Americans were joining? It wasn't the Ethical Society of Police. It was Jeff's business group.
That's right.
Most of the African Americans were in that society. They were in that group. They weren't in the Ethical
Because
Society.
they are police, and he fights for police.
We talk about this, Jeff, all for the last 2 years.
City said we got to get him out of there.
We've talked about this for 2 years. Last night, I was watching 2, 4, and 5, and I was wondering because everybody had their
Were you bored?
I was super bored.
You weren't getting the full story.
I wasn't going to get the story on Fox National
unless you were watching weather.
Well, the good news is they stuck cameras in the good people of downtown St. Louis's face, and each one of them had this look of fear, like, We want crime dealt with. I don't know what's going on here. We don't care about the politics. Maybe, and it was bizarre, and I felt sorry for him, Jeff. It looked like the people of St. Louis were like, I don't believe that this is going to fix anything, and we're getting to that point now where it looks like it's hopelessness with St. Louis. And do you feel the same way, or where are the rays of hope in this city? It's definitely not this guy, apparently.
They're hard to find. I mean, this guy may be a great police chief. It's the problem is that he's working for a woman who's not interested in
Yes.
police.
Exactly. That's why you were canceled.
She not only punts the first down, she turns around and punts the ball the other direction. I mean,
she just hands off to the defense.
I mean, we laugh. It's not funny, but I mean, because there's so many great situations that can happen in the city. And with that being said,
the city has potential. Yeah.
And the men and women of the force, the men and women of the blue who are there, and all the first responders who are still there trying. And as you know, Jeff, there's another issue there, and it's those men and women who are still there looking at opportunities to leave and get out, and where you find people to fill those 300 some odd open jobs that you say that are there. The mayor did tell me that we had plenty of police about 6 months ago.
I bet she did.
She said that we're already spending more than we should be on policing efforts in the city. We're just not utilizing our resources correctly. And she believes that.
She must have been talking about her own police security detail, which she doubled as soon as she walked through the door. I mean, she looks around and says, look at all the police here. But I mean, it's like,
exactly.
You took them all off the street to be in your security detail. Every single police officer on the St. Louis Police Department either has a job application in somewhere else or has a retirement application in with the retirement.
Everyone?
I guarantee you everybody is looking for a job or looking to retire.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
Jeff, how many have we lost just this year? The last time I counted was probably about 8 weeks ago. We were down like 130 just in 2022. Do you have any updated numbers on that?
I don't follow it as closely now, but I mean, there was this great graphic that one of the media outlets here ran of a picture in the quartermaster's office of all the uniforms that had been turned in this year and just piled up to the ceiling. And it was like, you talk about a picture saying 1,000 words. I mean, it's
and
stunning.
Dispatchers.
Right, in dispatch, like no one. Imagine the police chief's the look on this guy's face when he gets settled in. Like, hey, by the way, nobody answers the phone when people dial 911.
We talked about that yesterday.
I mean, he's just gonna say, "What? You're kidding?"
Yeah.
Like the shock of how bad this is not going to sink in for a while. But those are problems that he could make some progress with pretty quickly if he had a partner in the form of a mayor or a president of the board of aldermen that believed in servicing the needs of the people of the city. But I mean, he's in just for such a rude awakening. Like his first day, like that would be the best reality show ever, wouldn't it? Like,
oh my God,
follow him around his first day and just like zoom in on his face every time he learns of some new colossal mess that he's got to unwind.
I would love it, because think about the big picture here. Here we have the city of St. Louis, one of the most dangerous or the most dangerous city per capita in the entire country as far as violent crime. And then we have a police chief stepping into this new job. He comes on, he says, oh, what do we have? About 30 police officers patrolling the entire metropolitan area at any given time. Almost no dispatchers. Nobody's answering the 911 calls. Nobody's being dispatched. It's an absolute joke.
Jeff, let me ask you this. We know that St. Louis is going to go down in flames as far as crime goes. People aren't going to want to come in from here. I'm talking about the future now. The people from West County are not going to want to come spend their dollars downtown anymore. They're sick of getting their cars broken into. People that do have the means to move
go
out,
there for sporting events, Eric.
People that have the means are going to move out of St. Louis. It's just physics. People that have businesses down there, Fortune 500 or whatever, are going to leave St. Louis. What is your prophetic vision of St. Louis's future after all of this nonsense?
Well, I mean, it's got to hit rock bottom, just like anybody who's on a bad path. The city these businesses have billion-dollar investments downtown, and they're screaming for help, and sitting down with the mayor, and she just doesn't seem to care. She's, she's going to do a victory lap on this and say, "See, I got you a new police chief. Everything's great," and not really have any desire to do anything about the problem. That's a terrible shame of it. She ran on this Black Lives Matter platform, and the people who are suffering most are African Americans who live in the city and are disproportionately affected by all the serious crimes, particularly murder. It really is going to take the community on the north side to say, we've had enough of this, and we want a mayor who's going to take crime seriously and take the problems that plague this city seriously and try to turn them around.
What about the situation when it comes to Cori Bush, U.S. Representative Cori Bush? Are police upset? Do they take it as a slap in the face that she's one of the last, by the way, Democrats in the country who are really, going after defunding the police? She still backs it, but through, I guess, she's now directed over $490,000, already spent $10,000, but directed another $490,000 into private security for the 2022 election cycle, as she remains one of the last Democrats to openly call for the defunding of police.
Yeah, well, we got like the Mount Rushmore of the defunding of police here in St. Louis with Cori Bush and Megan Green and Tashara Jones and Kim Gardner. And of course, those guys take it very personally. And it's a reason that nobody sees a future in this police department, because everybody in power has adopted this nonsensical approach that they can defund the police and the criminals aren't going to take advantage of that. And it's just demoralizing. And then you have horrible leadership in the police department, which hopefully this guy can turn around. But he's, all the really good commanders, with just a couple of exceptions, have left. And this guy doesn't even have a good support staff behind him to give him some guidance on what's broken.
Yeah, it's such a broken system, because not only do you need a police chief, but you need a force that has the tactical ability to find criminals, then the judicial ability to keep criminals incarcerated. And then maybe down the line, like 10th in line, is a social platform to get these people rehabilitated and put back into society properly. I told Jeff I'm running for mayor. I don't know if I'll win or not, but I think I could clean the city up.
He has to move there first.
I do, and that's the problem. Do you ever have, when you're driving down Highway 70, do you ever have like all these thoughts of how you could fix St. Louis, and what would your top 3 list be?
Well, first of all, Kim Gardner's got to go.
Kim Gardner's got to go.
You have the prosecutor who's serious about prosecuting crime, and state control's a very talked about idea, but I think that's a dead end. That's going to get filibustered in the Senate. The governor is worried about it, and you don't have the advocacy for it that you did when I was there. You got a very weak police union president who's proved that he's not good at much, and I don't think that's something you're going to see happen. State control, just sort of a pipe dream at this point. So
that's interesting. Jeff, I was at an event last night where I was told that that's more than a pipe dream. And you think that I'm getting some bad information?
Yes. Yeah. Listen, the governor has shown no enthusiasm for it, has made comments in the media that he doesn't want to meddle with this police department. And the senators from urban St. Louis and urban Kansas City are just not going to sit down on this. And, the Senate breaks filibusters in Missouri on abortion, guns, immigration, not on control of the police department. So, and again, like there's no leadership on behalf of the police department.
But what if the Ethical Society of Police got behind it? Because I heard there's word that they are behind this. Does that mean anything?
Yeah, I mean they've become frustrated, and
Even the Ethical Society of Police is going, we need help.
well, that's not going to change the mind of the senators that are going to filibuster this, and I just don't know how they get around that filibuster and how they get the governor to sign the bill. So I mean, they're, the hopefulness that comes from that sort of last resort is really probably going to not materialize.
And do we want that burden anyway as the state, as a taxpayer?
No,
etc.?
it is there. Jeff, we appreciate you taking a bunch of time with us today. I'm curious too. You've kind of talked about what happened to you for trying to speak up and where you are now. What do you want to do? Where are you heading right now when it comes to your life in the public eye?
Well, I'm working on my second book, Vic. You should write a book too. I wrote my first book, The War on Police. It was very successful. Sold between 4,000 and 5,000 copies. This next book is going to be Jeff Roorda Unchained, and pity the poor fool that ever crossed me.
Well, Jeff, we appreciate you taking time. If there's things going on that we need to know about, let us know. We'd love to get you back on here where we want people to talk freely. All opinions are welcome. And of course, we got to have the conversations before anything gets better. We certainly know that. And you just better go somewhere and do something where you can still wear the pretty blue tie that I sent you. All right.
It's at the front of my closet, Vic.
All right. You got it.
There's a gala coming up sometime.
Hey, Jeff Roorda, hey, thanks for taking time with us, my friend. I appreciate it. We're on 7 to 10 live podcasting every day right here, Monday through Friday. And of course, people can go in and check out Jeff's full interview as soon as the show gets done, as we save all of that original content if you're just joining us now. Jeff, we appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, man. Look forward to coming back.
All right, Jeff Roorda. It's interesting when you talk to a guy who was involved, who knows where the skeletons are buried and is willing to talk about it and can, because I tried to talk to him before about situations. He's like, no, I can't talk about it. And this is when he was involved in the situation, when he and Kim had back and forth going on. And everybody knew that word came down from higher powers. Like, we have to get him out. We have to get him out. He's saying too much. We have to get him out. And eventually they did.
All I noticed was the incredible optimism in his voice.
Yeah, right. I love Jeff. I've been interviewing him since 2013. And I will tell you what, he cares about St. Louis City. He cares about Missouri. He cares about these police officers. And because he does care, that is exactly why they try to cancel him out.
And I'm serious. Last night I was watching the news, because you can't get this nationally, obviously. You got to zoom in. And when they do the story about the St. Louis's new out-of-town police chief, man, the look of despair on these people's faces, of the cameras that were shoved into the residents of St. Louis face, was overwhelming. It was so sad. It was sad.
Of course it's sad.
Tabitha.
These people are calling 911 and no one answers. They're calling somebody, saying somebody's breaking into their home. And then it takes them 15, 20, 30 minutes for a dispatcher.
All in the name
and then
of
and then the police never show
all in
up.
the name of a city being used as a science project, in the name of cities being used as science projects, of let's see if we can get rid of cops in these urban areas. Let's see if we can actually do this. You can't. And then the next story was a story of the brand new the Armory. And I'm thinking to myself, in Midtown, how are you going to keep those people safe?
You can't.
And then
they won't, and you can't.
How are you going to keep an entertainment venue safe that can hold 7,000 people or whatever it is?
It won't happen. People are going to get robbed. People are going to get carjacked.
Cars
are going to get broken
into. But here's
into.
the issue, and I've heard it's the same all across the country. Chicago, even Detroit, which is doing better, Atlanta, Dallas, New York, LA, you name the city, the same thing. Yeah. Most people who live, I'm told this.
Come on, man.
Most people who are residents in those places want policing. They do want policing. They want safety. They said it's a few people who are allowed in against the police, but they're getting all the headlines. And guess what? If you want change, who are the people voting? Because we continually see less than 30% of people show up to vote. The apathy is unbelievable. And if you're not out there voting and you want change, then shame on you. And then if you're out there voting and trying to get a word against, I'm told this is the other side, that if you are trying to make an active campaign and be public and get people, let's say, to vote against current leadership who's been voted in, you become a target.
Yeah.
So you're almost damned if you do, damned if you
canceled.
don't.
The right word is canceled. You are being canceled.
Canceled if you try to go against the
It's
current
time to
administration.
cancel these
And
people.
I'm told it's not just happening in St. Louis, it's happening all around the country in those cities where crime continues with the same kind of leadership that has been elected decade after decade.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, even if it has to take a quiet campaign or a quiet effort to get out and vote to try to change things, it's not going to change. Because when there's 28% of the St. Louis city voting, give me a break.
Less than that this year. It was, I believe it was less than 25% this year of registered voters.
Yeah, but it's I think that we have to so cancel culture, canceling only happens one way, apparently. It goes liberal to conservative, right? That's the direction of cancel. There has got to be a new way of doing business where we can cancel them. Like Tashara, you're canceled. What PC or not?
You do. The voters do that. You know who her boss is? It's St. Louis City residents, but she's dominating her elections.
Yeah, but you know what?
For the people who are voting,
you guys keep.
Kim Gardner dominates her elections.
Yeah, I get it, but
because the people who are voting want her and they're happy.
So there's a delay between.
Corey Bush dominated her last election over, a pretty good candidate.
Yeah, St. Louis is doomed.
There are answers.
St. Louis is doomed.
It is doomed, but you know what, Eric? There are answers. If everyone,
it's a damn ghost town down there right now. Have you ever been down there?
Of course I have.
Welcome to Miami. Miami canceled their leadership. They changed.
Exactly, man. You
they
nailed
changed.
It. There's a lot of places that are canceling their leadership, and I'm not saying there's some area where we can work on getting the relationship between cops and the good people of downtown metropolitan areas. Yeah, we can definitely do that. I think that the conservatives did a huge service to cops by putting on those cameras on their vest. That's exactly what you want.
And themselves.
Exactly. On themselves. I think Tashara Jones needs to have a camera on her damn lapel because I would love to know what those meetings are like behind closed doors. How are you destroying the confidence of the good people of St. Louis? I think that the only people that aren't transparent, not the rank and file, let's see what the managers are saying. Let's see what they're doing.
There are answers, Eric. The answer is every person who lives in the city of St. Louis, even though I know this is not going to happen, they all need to be armed. They all need to be trained. And I will tell you what, because you can't call 911 in the city of St. Louis a good portion of the time, because even when you do, they don't have enough officers to respond. Guess what? If you have a weapon, you can take care of business yourself.
Yeah. Well, a social worker
and when
will
that
show
happens, yeah, that's not even happening these days. I can guarantee you, if city residents start taking care of crime themselves, vigilante justice, or protecting themselves with their own weapons, guess what? Somebody's going to step up and do something.
Yeah, you cannot have this ultimate transparency in a traffic stop. We need ultimate transparency across the board. It's time we need to start seeing what these conversations are like with donors, with the good people of, I want to know what the hell Biden is talking about behind closed doors. I want to know what the hell our leadership is talking about.
The thing.
Exactly, the damn thing. What we need to have.
Forget all that.
We need to demand that our presidents, our leaders, sit there.
They're
and
not
take
going to.
questions from
None
not
of
the
this
reporters.
is going to happen. People need to go out and get a gun when somebody tries to break into your home.
Oh my God, Tabitha.
Shoot them.
Tabitha, the gun is not
problem solved.
No, that was Tabitha Hassel, by the way.
What about if they're trying to carjack you or take your car?
If your life is in danger, shoot them.
Damn, Tabitha.
If I'm in that car, I would feel threatened.
We are put in a place where you have to take your own life into your own hands, and you have to protect yourself. There's no other way around it, because nobody's going to do a darn thing.
Hey, how good of a shot are you?
We might find out.
Chris.
No, I pray
real damn good.
I pray to God you don't have to put a bullet in somebody, Tabitha. I pray to God you're not faced with that situation.
I pray to God that I don't have to.
I was
either.
just curious.
But I will tell you what.
At the range.
I wouldn't hesitate.
Ammo.
If I'm out and my life is in danger or my family member's life is in danger, guess what? The criminal life is the last thing I'm worried about. And when you're in a situation like in St. Louis City, and I've lived in the city for many years, many years of my life. So I fully understand how the city works. If you're there, you're walking to your car because there's a lot of street parking. You have to walk back to your house and somebody approaches you. You have to act for yourself. You have to be ready to act on yourself. There's no other way around it. There's home invasions, there's rape, sexual assaults. There's so much stuff going on in the city that we don't even hear about. And the police can do nothing but show up later and pick up the pieces.
And it's not even the guns. You know, if I hear Cori Bush use the word racist one more time without any kind of proof, I think that word should damn well be outlawed. I don't think you should ever again in the history of this country be able to call someone racist for a political reason, to win a political argument. Unless you have proof and you can prove it in a court of law, I think people should be able to sue and say, I'm not racist. And now you're going to go to court and prove that I am racist. I'm not kidding. I've never seen a political apparatus use one word so effectively in my entire life. All you have to do is use that word. And now it is up to you,
That's
Tabitha.
the only reason why
you.
Kim Gardner has a job.
It's up to you to prove you're not a racist. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Tabitha Hessel's a racist.
Hey, by the way, Todd from the comment side, Tabitha, I'll meet you at the range. I'm buying.
Todd, if I didn't have to leave here in a few minutes and skip out of this place, I would be with you. But I have to go to work.
And we're getting ready to talk all of our national news, too. And you got to get out of here.
I know.
Remind people what else you do besides possibly shoot would-be thieves.
Yes, I own a security company, and I work in mostly in anti-piracy. So I am going out to protect some films today.
Okay, when you've done do you still do bodyguard work, or was that
when it's necessary? The actors don't tour as much right now after COVID, but eventually that will get back up and going again.
I got to stop you. I got to stop Tabitha.
COVID.
This is breaking news from one of our local news sources. We were just talking about this. St. Louis City, the Foundry has been broken into apparently at 4:30 this morning.
Of course,
a sledgehammer and a crowbar were among the evidence on the ground.
Imagine that.
Whoa! Damn, Eric. Are we freaking ahead of our time?
Eric,
I mean, we are literally
that happens every day.
Eric, those desks are expensive. You're going to break the please.
Sorry.
Well, this one's a little cheaper now.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? The Foundry, the brand new emerald jewel in our entertainment system in downtown St. Louis, has just been broken.
Do you think it's the first time? Last week, Eric, in one morning, folks woke up and there were over 60 restaurants broken into in the city of St. Louis in one morning. Over 60.
I was just broken into 4 weeks ago downtown.
Were you really?
Sunday afternoon.
Good morning, Scott Gherkin.
1:30 in the afternoon. I went and met some friends. I'm not even going to name where the establishment was downtown off Broadway.
Yep.
And went inside. About a half hour later, a couple people came in, said, hey, there's a couple cars got broken into. They got the gun out of my glove box, all my checkbooks. I had to call the police.
Oh, my gosh.
Do a report, give them serial numbers, everything.
So common. And you know what? And
they
it's
got
not just
4
in the
guns
city.
and 3 laptops out of 4 cars.
No way. Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you going to go back to Broadway?
Are you going to go back?
Yeah, but this time I'm going to put it on my hip whether I'm drinking or not.
You really have to. Don't leave the weapons in the cars.
Tabitha, you have a marriage
It was
proposal
in a locked
too. Somebody
box.
says they want to marry
Took
you.
the box.
We need to mark that tape at 8:45.
I've never been married. I'm not going to break my streak.
You
now.
shoot them. You shoot them if they come in. And it's great. I mean, exactly. Well, you got to protect yourself first.
If you live in the city of, whether it's St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit, wherever, you have to protect yourself.
I think Scotty, if you would have walked outside, Scotty, and you see them in the act of stealing
good question,
your stuff, if you're faced with this situation, because this could happen to any of us at any time, anywhere.
Bring it.
What do you think you would have done?
Bring it.
I walk up to the car, first of all. I don't draw with intention.
Because you don't have your gun, because your gun's in your car.
Well, even if I did, I don't draw with intention. I walk up, what the hell you doing? What's going on? Run to the car, see if they take off. If they come at me, done.
Yes.
Done.
What do you mean done if they run at you?
Boom. Done. I'm threatened. You're threatening my life.
Yeah,
that's
but
my
what
property.
if you don't have your gun?
I'm
your
still
gun was
going
in
there.
Your car.
I'm still going.
Yeah, but they have a gun and you don't.
They have a gun.
I don't. Well, they were so stupid. They took the gun and the clips weren't in the gun. The clips were in the thing, and they left the clips and the bullets.
And they're so bold these days, Scotty.
Unbelievable.
I know where the other one is.
It happens everywhere.
It's so funny. It is literally like it's reality TV is St. Louis, Missouri. Look, how stupid are you, the people who built the armory, that you didn't build something like that? What was a $60 million project?
Well,
it was a multi-million-dollar project.
But you got to try, Eric. There's
Do
people
you?
trying.
Are you?
And maybe they were sold a bill of goods by somebody in administration.
So
in
you're
St.
not going to
Louis.
take up some space down there by the Family Arena in St. Charles and do the same thing where it's safe, where people are coming for entertainment? Look at the streets of St. Charles. That would not succeed downtown St. Louis. It would not. It would be a waste of money.
We can't blame it on the people who built the
Ballpark,
development.
Ballpark Village is doing well.
If Chris and I said
They've got security there.
Is that what you call them?
Let me tell you something about Ballpark Village. Let me tell you something about
And
Ballpark Village.
Last time I checked,
Ballpark
they were even
Village.
licensed.
Ballpark Village is an anomaly because it has Busch Stadium right across the street. Do you think that the good people of Busch Stadium are going to let anything happen to that facility? No, it will not.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
In Midtown, you think that they have that same security apparatus down there?
They
in Midtown?
don't, because I've been
Hell
there.
no, they don't have that. Man, I'll tell you what. There's a place that we used to rehearse at called you might have been there also, Utopia. Have you ever been down to Utopia and rehearsed? It's
Yeah. I've been there.
It's this shady little place downtown. It used to be kind of semi-safe. Safe to go rehearse late at night. You wouldn't even dream of going down there to rehearse anymore because it's just so bad.
And Eric, it's
That's
not
what
just
I'm talking
the city.
about.
It's not just the city. Being that I work in security, I see a lot of things other folks don't see. Just 3 weeks ago, I was in Richmond Heights in a parking lot, and a car 2 cars down from me was broken into. The manager of the theater where I was working was threatened by these folks in the car breaking into this car. I mean, it's happening everywhere. Crime is out of control. The criminals are empowered because you know what? If they know that if they don't have any money, guess what? They don't have to worry about paying bail. They don't go to jail.
I was
The
heard
criminals have the upper hand.
I was heard that part of this woke nature, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is dinosaurs not being real kind of conspiracy stuff.
But
But
they are.
I heard that in the back of the Tashara Jones's minds and back of the Kim Gardner mind, that this breaking into cars downtown St. Louis is a form of reparation. Is that true or not? Is that
what?
I've never heard that.
A form
I have
of
heard-
reparation.
No.
I have heard that in their
Tashara
ideology.
has never said that.
No, I don't think that anybody
Kim
would
Gardner
come out
has
and
never
say
said
that.
Well,
But
you
the
mean this is-
reason that they don't, I mean, what's the reason then for not going after and catching these criminals and not keeping them incarcerated? What is the reason then?
Because she wants her vote.
Exactly. They want the vote.
Well, they don't.
And then-
They do this no cash bail deal because they feel that the prisons are full of young Black men who can't afford to bail themselves out, and so it's a disproportionate number of young Black males in prisons. So therefore, because they don't have the same opportunities as a white man does to be able to afford an attorney or to be able to afford to pay bail, they have no cash bail.
Okay. Well,
That's
I don't
what
know.
it comes
I'm
down
just
to.
saying that
It is about race.
in all of these conversations that we're all having, everybody has another opinion about what's going on. There's no rhyme or reason why any urban area should be like, you commit a crime, you're going to jail. If you can't afford to get out, sucks to be you. Sucks to be you.
Well, that's why I can't wait. On Tuesday, we're going to talk with a new friend of mine, LaJoy Dabney. I met her at a car show this last week. And, you know, she grew up. She's an African-American woman. She grew up dirt poor in Indianapolis, moved to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And like I said, you want to hear this interview next week because she does believe, and this is what gets into that, some of the systemic racism. I know you don't believe it. I believe it's there. But she still says there's no reason why anybody can't go make something good for themselves, as she
Exactly.
has.
I think it's abusive.
But
Well,
it
listen
also
to me.
gets into the crime that's around you.
Listen, to
And
me.
if people aren't taking care of the crime, a la elected leaders and police chiefs, and if there's a reimagining police plan on the table that just isn't working, then yeah, you got to address that.
You're making excuses. I think it's
Maybe.
It's abusive. Listen to me. Get really close to your speakers right now. It's abusive for any individual.
Are you getting close to
For any individual not to tell a young urban kid that they cannot succeed.
exactly.
And it's also an abuse to say it's someone else's fault.
Or a poor country white kid, same thing.
and there's
it's-
more poor country
I'm-
white kids than there are poor inner city kids.
My whispering dissertation was not over yet.
Sorry. I
It's
apologize.
abusive for you as a teacher in higher or middle education to not say, you can make it. What do you want to do? What is the path to make you make it? Don't worry about this white kid over here. Do not worry about this brown kid over here. Do not worry. Don't worry about what skin color you are. What do you want to do? You want to make money? All right, let me show you how to make money. They're not doing that. Do you want to be a mathematician? Fantastic. Let's get you to calculus 2 before you graduate. They are not doing that. It is an abusive that you are letting any kid get, if even hear in about CRT, critical race theory. This is the problem that we have right now. It's just a ball of garbage in the urban areas right now. If you want to be successful getting out of high school and not relying on going to the damn NFL, which you probably won't do, we're going to make you successful. Do you think that, you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you know plumbing? Let's make you a plumber and you'll make $1 million over the course of the next of your lifetime.
Because
you see what I'm saying?
No,
Vic?
I get it.
You might as well chain them to the floor and beat them with whips, because it is abusive of our school system to not teach the basics and get our kids the education that they damn well need. I'm serious.
Tabitha, any thoughts before you get out of here?
No, nope.
None, really?
Sums it up for me.
Okay,
Go get your gun, go get trained, go do what you got to do.
And we all talk about this stuff because we feel like we talk about this because we feel and we are hurting. We want these kids to be successful as well. Anything else other than that is complete garbage. We are all having conversations right now in our communities about how to help fix these problems, and anything other than lifting everybody up is absolutely nonsense. Get to the point, man.
That's Eric Johnson. Tabitha Hassel. Tabitha is taking this next hour off. She's got to work. Thanks again, Tabitha. We'll catch up with you.
Yes, you will.
Chris Knight's here. Scotty Gherkin on the boards. It's Cancel This. You can go to cancelthisshow.com. If you're just joining us and you don't know what we're about, it's 7 to 10, Monday through Friday, live podcast, but all of our original content is saved on our website for you, too. Once you go to our website, you can pick your flavor. Is it Rumble? Is it Facebook? Is it YouTube? And, of course, starting to get out on the Apple streaming as well. Heck, we just did 4 shows the other day and had 500 downloads.
Love it.
The reach. I'll get into some of the reach that we've had, too. It's been massive, and it's because of you guys, and we appreciate you joining us. Our new concept, our project is something we feel is going to take hold, and we're grateful for everybody jumping in and being able to have conversations that you don't see on television, that you can't, and trying to do it in educated form. All opinions, always welcome right here at Cancel This and the Cancel Culture Education. Thanks again in that break for the interview we had with Jeff Roorda. He says he was canceled because he was calling out Kim Gardner because she wasn't prosecuting people in the city, and he saw the problem happening. So his opinion there. We'll be back with more. We got to talk about, there's now an effort to get Elon Musk out of this country. His son's car was attacked yesterday. Wasn't it a matter of only time that we said before things happen? And by the way, if you didn't get vaccinated, a new study says you're more likely to have an accident.
I hate that I'm going to miss that conversation.
What? We'll get into all of that. So much going on. And Christy Nome is also saying, Chinese, don't try to buy up any more farmland in my state. Lots of that to get to. If you have subject that we missed, let us know. If you want to join us on the video stream, let us know. I'll post the link as well. Back with more of Cancel This right after this. And welcome back to Cancel This. Catch us at cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust alongside Eric Johnson and Chris Knight in. Tabitha Hassel had to leave early for that privacy job that she has. Scotty Gherkin on the board. It is the all-male review right now. Yeah, that sounds very cool and interesting. It does. I know. You hear that as well?
Yeah.
Yes, I got that in my ears. So anyway, we're back. We're rocking and rolling, getting things shaken up on this hour. It's 9
I
o'clock.
think we have to mute your microphone on the.
Oh, that's what it is.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
I'm talking
Chris
to
just
you.
jumped in. He's going to
We're
mute
good.
his mic.
We're good.
There we go.
Way to
We're
wreck,
good.
way to wreck the show.
I got it.
He's
Yeah.
new. He's new.
Shut up, Eric.
Speaking of wrecking themselves, did Elon Musk wreck himself? We knew that there was going to be an all-out blitz on him because he's become so public, going after the establishment, not worrying about being canceled. You can't cancel me. Dave Chappelle even bringing him on stage in San Francisco Sunday night. When Dave Chappelle's bringing you on stage to promote you, you're uncancelable. Well, then they got to find something else. They being establishment. So what happened? Now, prominent attorneys are investigating whether Elon lied on his application for U.S. citizenship. If it shows that he lied anywhere on the application, guess what?
What?
He could be stripped of his U.S. citizenship and deported. You can do that to a billionaire?
We didn't do that to Obama. Oh,
Right.
Didn't-
Right.
just kidding. Just kidding. Culture.
So that
warriors.
message went out there. The prominent attorneys in question were not identified in the post. So Elon making news on a daily basis. We got that story to talk about. Also, something else that happened yesterday. The car that Elon's son was being driven in had somebody jump on the car and try to get into the car. Elon was not in the vehicle with his son.
Wow.
So
Where was that?
yeah, you're not going to find it in mainstream media news, and that's
Yeah.
why we do what we do. You become a target. And are we surprised? He claimed that his young son was followed in a car he was traveling in and posted a clip of this, quote, crazy stalker. So talking to Twitter, Musk explained how he believes the man thought it was him in the car, but it was actually his 2-year-old son inside.
So, who was driving?
His driver.
His driver. Well, it is a autonomous
So
car.
Elon did share. He shared a clip of this crazy stalker who followed his son. So
did they find him? Did they arrest him?
I don't know. It doesn't say. They said, but the man blocked the car from moving, and he even jumped on the hood of the car trying to get into the car. Elon says any account doxing real-time location info of anyone will be suspended, as it is a physical safety violation. This includes links to sites with real-time location. Posting locations someone traveled to on a slightly delayed basis isn't a safety problem, so it's okay.
It's amazing.
It
So,
is.
I mean, what are you going to do? Elon Musk is one of our natural resources right now. He's
He
literally
really
the
is.
man. He's literally the man. Whoever's trying to cancel him, check this out. He invented electric cars for you. He has literally put
Well,
together.
not for me.
Well, you'll buy one eventually.
No, I won't.
I guarantee you will. Yeah, you will. Because you're trendy like that. You will
No,
definitely
I'm
do
not
it.
trendy like
You'll definitely have like an electric Bentley one day.
No, that's you.
No, it's not. But I can't afford them. Those
Yeah.
things are expensive. Even the used ones you can't afford. But
He's making waves, and
he-
that's an issue.
he's literally your brand new. He's an Uber entrepreneur. He's literally developing industries under your feet. He's literally making it so that one day you're going to be able to get on a commercial jet. I'm sorry, a commercial rocket and get into space.
Mhm.
He's developing. Isn't he the guy that put together PayPal? He's doing everything. Why would you go after this guy?
You already know why they're going after him.
Right.
Because he was a national hero.
Right.
Until he became unliberal. And he said he started to support some Republican candidates. And then he started going after people who do what they do on Twitter. And there used to be a lot of evil people on Twitter, the keyboard warriors, who would go after you and try to attack you and jump on you. That's why, because he went against Joe Biden. That's why you get people going after Elon Musk.
You know, the creepy thing about Twitter, by the way, was not the fact that they had a bunch of Gen Z millennials
And people posting the car's sites and where it is.
That's going to happen. I'm sorry. That's just going to happen. It's digital technology now that runs your cars. You know, back in the old days when you had a Mustang, 1969 Mustang or whatever it was, you didn't have to worry about someone tracking you down Highway 70. Now you have all that stuff to worry about. The more and more a car becomes autonomous, the more and more you're going to have the ability to hack into that car and figure out where the hell it's going. That is actually a major problem. But all this digital stuff is a major problem if you really care about privacy and all of that. What I was talking before is Twitter is a problem. Why in the hell, when we talk about it on the show all the time, why did they have FBI agents working at a place that should have just been us posting pictures and talking, having political discourse on it? Why, you know, these are problems that he's trying to fix. And it seems like there's a finish line. And the wokesters are trying to cancel him out of the country before he can really unload everything that he has to unload.
Well,
do you feel like that's what's going on?
And it's all part of it. Absolutely, it is.
Where's the pushback? Where's the Elon Musk fan club out there that's really trying to support him?
And you see the change, and it happens over time. It does.
I was just going to say it takes time.
It does. We've been in this now 2 years, and it seems like the wokesters are winning.
He just really started to come out and start to do some of those things.
I mean, man, look how long it took to buy Twitter. That was an up and down situation. One minute he was going to buy it, next minute he wasn't.
Yeah.
There was people that bet our show.
Yeah.
That's probably listening right now that there was no way that was going to take place. And it did.
It's true.
We bought Twitter.
Yeah. And then he found out literally those servers, Chris, have where all the bodies are buried. We now know what that company was doing. I can't even believe that they let him buy that thing, to be honest with you. That's overwhelming. Or that they didn't do and scrub everything before he came in, because now he knows kind of what they were doing.
Well, I was wondering why nothing had happened to him yet. We spoke about it on Monday, and now we're starting to see some blowback in regards to what Elon's doing. Of course, he's in the news every day now with his son that we were talking about. And then, of course, if there's attorneys going after if he lied on the immigration papers when he was coming to this country. It is interesting talking about Elon and technology, the new weapon of choice, tech-savvy criminals using tracking devices to stalk and steal from you.
Mm-hmm.
These little devices, we've spoken a little bit about this in the past, but strange chirping sounds and alerts on iPhones can put some of people on edge.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. It's like, hey, what's going on with my phone here? What's that orange dot on there for? Well, it's one of the latest crime trends that tech-savvy criminals are using to carry out car thefts and even stalkings. It's pushed police departments across the country to warn residents about the new tactic because they're just trying to catch up. So basically, you have people who are making contact or unwanted contact with a victim repeatedly. And a Dearborn police chief was talking about this. It was a Detroit story that was going on. But Dearborn saw a high increase of police departments that have warned the public to be on alert for criminals using Apple AirTags to steal or illegally follow people.
Yeah.
That's scary. Okay, so the Apple released AirTags in 2021. It was the latest way to find lost personal items. I thought it was great when I first saw the story.
Sure.
But now AirTag owners, you can clip those small like disc-shaped devices to anything.
I have a funny story
and
about
then
an AirTag.
And then you can follow that tag wherever you want to go to its exact location. And they're itty bitty. I mean, they're
very small.
like a quarter size. When you say about a quarter.
Not even a quarter, like the size of maybe a nickel. I'll tell this story real quick. I was in Florida, and I had taken my car to get serviced, and it happened to be the Lamborghini. And I came back to the house, and my daughter was playing with my key ring.
Oh boy.
And I noticed something on the back of there's like a little leather piece that hangs off the key ring.
Right.
And I noticed this little metal thing on the back of it.
Okay.
And it had an apple on it. I didn't know what the hell that was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe it's something for Wi-Fi or something. I had no idea because I didn't do any of my due diligence when it comes to tracking somebody with a Apple tag.
Right.
Well, my wife says that's an Apple tag.
Here we go.
Who put that on your key ring? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Have no clue. Somebody was tracking me with my key ring that I have no idea who put this Apple tag
I got chills
on my key.
I literally just
So
got
anywhere
chills.
that key goes, it's not even really with the car. It's with the key.
It's with the person.
Right. If you have that key on you, they know exactly where you're at all the time.
Ugh.
So I ripped that thing off and
Threw it in the trash. Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Where did this happen at? Where did
In Florida, at my house in Florida.
No, but where do you think the Apple tag was placed on your key ring? Was your car getting service?
Yeah, I know for a fact that thing was not on there when I took the car over there.
So it was a
And when
dealer.
I-
You think it was a dealership?
Or somebody between
Damn.
something, because that thing was not on there when I picked up my car and I got back and took the car back to the house.
Man.
That thing was on there. And it's weird because on the Apple tags, if you have your iPhone on, it'll show up in the Bluetooth. It'll show up in the Bluetooth.
It'll tell you that there's a device, near you
yeah,
that's
it
not
shows you
connected
on
to
the
your
phone.
phone. Yeah. It's set up between 8 and 24 hours after it's placed for your phone to pick up to let you know it's there. But the problem is it takes too long. So someone could drop it. They have 8 hours
Yeah, but
to do
who's
whatever
looking
they
at
want.
who's looking at their phone to see if there's a device not?
Right.
You're not looking
Well,
unless
It's
something
supposed to
alerts you.
send you a
It
window pop
yeah,
up,
pops
like
up a message on your phone.
yeah.
So if you so if something pops up on your phone and it says, and it gives you a box or whatever, it says something's not attached.
It tells you you're being tracked with an AirTag.
yeah.
That's what it tells you. And
And then
my
you have to
daughter
find
was
out
playing
where.
with my phone, and that's what that popped up. Didn't think anything about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, she's playing with the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth on it, connected it to a speaker. And then when I went to grab my keys, I seen the little. It's a little bitty round thing. It looks like a watch battery.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at
Yeah.
it. I'm looking
And
at
it
one
has
right
an apple
now.
on
They're
it.
not very big. They're
Yeah,
maybe
they're-
a little bigger than a quarter.
Are they
Yeah.
rubberized or plastic on
No,
the
they're metal.
backside?
Metal,
Just
like
straight
the,
metal,
like
okay.
the
Yeah.
typical metal they use on iPhones and all that stuff. But you know what? Let's be honest.
I wanna know
they
who
can
the hell-
track you anyway, whether you have an Apple tag or not. You're being tracked
Yeah, but it's
Right,
still
with your
easy
phone.
to
at
tag.
every moment.
Right. But somebody put that on my key ring.
Oh yeah, so they could track that car.
So somebody was coming to steal
where
the
you were at.
Lamborghini.
Holy crap.
I don't know.
And how long ago did this happen? You think?
It was in February.
Okay.
It was in February.
That is
Um,
scary as hell.
But they put, like I was telling my wife, I was like, well, if they were really wanting to do that, would they do that on my key ring, or would they actually put it on the car?
It should be in the
if
car.
they were going to steal
Yeah.
the car. It was just it was a very odd place to put an Apple AirTag.
You think?
That would be something that I would do. So like my dumb ass would lose my keys or something. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for somebody else to put that on my key ring, I was like, it's a little weird.
Good for your daughter finding that, man. Seriously, you don't know what could have happened. And there's all
Yeah.
kinds of weird stories. It seems like that technology could be used for human trafficking. It could be used for advanced. I mean, like you said, you're not driving around an 87 Plymouth Horizon. That your car is.
And what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
they catch on fire easily. I
It
know
gets
that.
good gas mileage.
They just might not be excited about that. Police released a story from a woman who was being followed, had no idea, but here's what happened. Because the victim in the case was reportedly alerted to the AirTag by a phone notification, as you guys talked about,
Yeah.
and found the device in a spare tire. So she's okay, you're being tracked.
Hmm.
I mean, do you get out of your car and start looking,
How do you
knowing
find
you're
it?
being tracked?
How do you find it?
Hell no.
You drive to the police department,
Yeah.
probably.
Right.
So, and
I mean,
maybe
if you
and maybe
feel
that's what they
unsafe.
did. They went to the police department. I don't know. And then you have to look for a silver quarter size
Yes.
Apple tag somewhere on your
Yes.
vehicle
Yes.
or in your clothes or in your purse.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Nashville women were saying men were dropping them in women's purses
I believe it.
that were near them.
So what you're saying to me is, if this is an Apple product, Apple needs to immediately discontinue this feature.
Well, it started like a lot of things in life as something positive, or at least we were told, yeah, help you find something, help, keep on a child, keep with your keys, because we know we lose things. But then obviously, as a lot of things in life, it can be turned around and used as something nefarious, something bad, something evil. And that just blows my mind. So this woman was alerted on her phone found it in a spare device. She then drove straight to the police station. That happened in Iowa. And they eventually found this would-be criminal or the criminal. They tracked the device to the station, and officers placed the device on the car. So they set him up. What they did was they said they were waiting.
Right.
She found it. They set it up as a trap. The guy came and police got him.
Boom. Well, here's some good news with that. Right on the
But just think of all the bad stories that you don't know about.
Right on the front page of our local news source, a man uses a GPS tracker to help owners catch St. Louis truck thieves. It's twice today that we've done this. You've literally.
Could you repeat that? What?
In Missouri, St. Louis proper, GPS tracker helps owner catch St. Louis truck thieves. So apparently his truck was stolen and he had a tracking device on the thing and followed the guy. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Followed the truck, watched it, called the police. The police came and actually arrested the man, apparently. So just the converse opposite of what we were just talking about. Again, for the second time today, we're talking about a story that becomes relevant by a actual story that had happened.
But I'm gonna break your positivity and your joy there. You remember Donald, my hairstylist, who joined us on the show?
Yes.
His good friend had his Porsche stolen in Richmond Heights. Well, he had a tracking device on it. They followed tracking device to a location in North St. Louis. And I would have and found the vehicle outside. Or it was in a driveway, but there were 3 cars behind it in a long, skinny drive. So they couldn't go in and get it and didn't know where the keys were. They called St. Louis police, and they said that St. Louis police told them, this is what he claims, they told him, you need to report it to insurance.
What?
And they're like, you're not going to go do anything? And they said, no, they wouldn't do anything on it. Then I had it backed up. They initially called police and said, hey, there's a tracker that we could tell you. They said, call insurance, then tell them that it was stolen. And they said, you're not going to go look for it. So they did go look for it and found it and then told police, and we're still having problems with police trying to go get the car. And by the time police went and looked, the car was gone.
That's a horrible story. Is that St. Louis?
St. Louis City Police.
Oh my God!
Because the car, they tracked it to North St. Louis.
So their solution for this problem: go report it to insurance. Your insurance will now go up exponentially.
Well, that's everywhere.
Your insurance will. Well, you doesn't have to, but your insurance will.
And when Donald comes back on the show, we'll have him talk about that as well.
So that's,
I like that guy.
I do too. I do too. Let's get him. Let's call him for next week.
No, we'll get him back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes on this show, I just become complete. I can't even speak. I'm just so dumbfounded, and it takes me a couple of weeks to actually think about these stories and think about the society that we're living in now, and the people that we literally. I know Chris pays damn good money for his taxes. Scotty pays good money for his. I pay good money for my taxes. You do too. And one of the expectations is great police force.
Don't move to St. Louis City then, because you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
But if you're there already,
go Vic. Remember, you can say things now. You don't have to worry about any retribution anymore. I mean,
people are leaving St. Louis City in mass groves, man.
Are they?
Oh, hell yes.
What's
Absolutely.
the population now of St. Louis?
The last census report that I had seen, it was like 240,000.
Isn't that down from 4 million a few years ago?
Oh my God. I mean, if you go back into the 70s and 80s, the population was almost 2 million in St. Louis City.
Okay, that's a lot different.
Down to like 240.
So it's 10% of what it used to be. 10% of what it used to be.
I would say people are leaving St. Louis City.
Yeah,
big time.
And they leave with their woke ideology still. So you can live on Washington Avenue and be a progressive wokester, but when you leave, you're bringing your wokesterness to St. Charles, Chesterfield, Ladue, anywhere else other than being in the Tabitha used to live down there and was shot at a few times, she said.
Tab's right. I mean, she is right on one point when it comes to crime, in my opinion, being everywhere. But the difference is St. Louis City tend to not do anything about it. Kim Garner's office isn't going to prosecute most people.
Right.
She has a hidden list from police officers when they hand cases in that nothing's done.
Yeah.
Crime, there is crime, and that's where I agree with Tab. There's crime everywhere. In St. Charles County, you come to St. Charles County and you do something, Tim Lomar's going to charge you.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
And that's the
yes, he is.
that's the difference in the counties and the cities.
Yeah. I heard the helicopters out last night in St. Charles. They have a task force. You know more about it than I do.
Yeah, the auto theft task force.
The auto theft task force.
Yeah.
It has a helicopter, and how many patrolmen are running that thing?
I don't know, but I know it's working. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's working.
We need to get Dallas back on the show because that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
We will. Let me write that down.
Yeah.
That's good. Missouri State Highway Patrol, to see how they're going after people from that standpoint.
Midnight, St. Charles County. There's a little helicopter that's running Highway 70 looking for people stealing cars.
Yeah.
Man, you could have a couple of
but isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, but aren't you? But
to
imagine that.
protect
I know.
your-
Chris
If
is
you're Donald and his
exactly.
friend and that happens, and you're told, we know where it is, we had a track, we can help you, and I'll just report it to insurance.
we're being
Right.
gaslit. We're being gaslit.
for sure.
Because the problem is that when you're when you are a victim of a crime and you go to the extent of following your truck and saying that's it right there, and you call the St. Louis Police Department and they say report it to your insurance, and then Vic Faust, who says, well, you know what, they're just not going to do anything about it, and that's the report. Well, there's no there, you can't take the newspaper's not going to run your story.
But guess what? John from the Facebook line says there's not enough police officers in the city of St. Louis.
There is one cop that you could
for an auto
dispatch.
theft unit.
There is one cop that you could dispatch, and you could.
Then you look at leadership for not being able to bring police in or keep them there,
But
or
what
pay
are you-
enough money, and talking about reimagining police, which just doesn't work.
No,
And it
doesn't.
hasn't worked anywhere.
And Eric, what are you going to do when you have a prosecutor's office that's not going to charge?
At that
Well,
point,
they do some charging.
They do.
They don't have prosecutors that want to work there for low money
Correct.
and quality ones going
Correct.
up against our friends.
Correct.
But this
in
is
the
different.
business.
So why do the police even want to bother with it?
why do the
They know
police-
there's a good chance if they do their due diligence, they go and they're getting car thieves.
And that's just going to lead to.
Let me ask you
And it-
this.
And you're going to do all the work.
Yeah.
You're going to take it to the PA's office.
Yeah.
And they issue nothing.
Let me ask you this.
So why would you do it?
I would get a cottage industry together. I would have 3 or 4 bubbas with highly armed bubbas, and I would say I'm going to call the highly armed bubbles auto theft company, and they're going to come get my thing. It'd be like a reverse I would get them to take care of it for me.
Well, I think
if the
we talked
cops
about-
don't want to do it and you have the paperwork showing that's my car, they're just getting my car for me. You guys aren't going to do anything about it. That's almost a cottage industry you could put together.
I think we talked about this last week. I think it came up. What you're starting to see are businesses
I
hiring.
can't believe we're even having this discussion.
You're buying special security. You're paying for security, your own personal security, to take care of things. You see people, or you see a couple guys walking around with guns protecting a business, you're less likely to try to go there and do something. You're going to go somewhere where you don't see people with guns walking around protecting a security.
Well,
It's being used at some gas stations. I know a private gas owner. He has his own private security there.
Yeah.
He pays a lot for it, but he says it's worth it.
I mean,
And guess what? His places are in the city.
you could make
They
a lot
have their
of,
own. They're not St. Louis Metropolitan Police.
I mean, eventually you're going to go to a car. Man, this is it. Scotty, can we have one day where it's just positive talk on this show? Like, oh my God, everything's going really
Yeah, but
well.
Eric, here's the thing.
No.
Everything's going smashing.
Eric,
No.
Eric, these are facts. And
I understand.
They need to be discussed.
Okay.
And the more we push the word, don't kid yourself. There's a lot of people that are on cloud 9 out there that have no idea what we're talking about. Oh, it can't be that bad in St. Louis City.
Yeah.
Come on. It's not that. It's that bad.
Yeah.
It is that bad.
Yeah. I
I mean, come
agree.
on. Scott goes down to Broadway 2:00 in the afternoon.
And you're told on the Facebook line that vigilantes aren't going to work, Eric. You're in La La.
It's not about vigilante.
Right.
Vic, don't use that word. I didn't say that word. That was Vic. I said a company, a paid for service. I don't know how much they would, $1,200 to come and repo your stolen car. because and then the
He
headline.
called them vigilantes.
Okay, fine. I'm not talking about vigilantism. That's not what I'm talking. I'm not talking about
Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, hey, I'm looking at my car down here on Minnesota, down in the city. How much is it for you to come and get my car? What kind of car is it? Well, it's a 1999 whatever Honda Civic. That'll be $1,200. You need to be paid for in full. Boom, 4 guys come down there and get your damn car for you. Don't worry about the St. Louis
Yep.
police. They're not doing anything.
From our chat line, that's called reverse repo.
reverse repo.
You think insurance would
We'll
cover that?
We'll get your car back
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah,
That's
we're
reverse repo.
And they're bonded and they're all kinds of cool stuff. And they even give you like a nice little camera so you can watch the whole incident
And-
and a nice little glass of champagne.
Oh my
Hey, sit here at the end of the block while we go get your car for you. I mean, we could literally make a website for that.
That's Can't Miss TV.
So we're reverse repo STL.
Watch as we take care of business.
I mean, seriously, you got it. I mean, invention is the need. It's the necessity.
We'll show it live here on Cancel This.
I mean, why in the hell isn't some company inventing all of these security systems for cars that are brand new and bought
maybe
right
they
now?
are in the works right now.
Right? I mean, you go and you kick the tires and you check the warranty and you look under the hood and then the salesperson comes on and goes, "Oh, we have a class 1 security system." Whereas if the criminal breaks in and you report it, the doors lock and it drives itself right to the police department. I mean, yeah, I would pay another $2,000 for that system.
Well, Robert from the Facebook line says, guess what? Gas station in Detroit was facing a ton of crime. Dealing with it, they hired their own security, and guess what happened?
What?
Crime immediately went down.
Woo!
But that's at the expense of the owner, having to now pay after you're
Okay.
already paying taxes for the city that your business is in. And it's not easy to own a business.
Yeah.
And now you're having to make that extra expense to try to keep your business safe.
I was gonna say something.
Go ahead, Scott.
I was just wondering if the
Show's called
security-
Cancel This.
I was wondering if the security was Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, damn.
By the way, he's asked Elon Musk recently to release all of the things that came out about
Oh, yeah, I
his case
saw that
Oh,
about
that Twitter did not allow. And we may hear more from Kyle Rittenhouse with his situation
And
with Twitter.
and the more we talk about this, why is any of this controversial? What we're saying on this show?
Who said it was?
I don't think
I'm
it is. It's
sure.
facts.
I'm sure that our friends
It's
from.
not, we haven't said anything controversial.
Oh, I'm sure that there's all kinds of controversy. How can you be so callous, Eric, about saying that you need a reverse repo company? You know what? Why do you think that the cops can't handle? I mean, there's all kinds of ways that we can be challenged on this stuff. We're just
Eric,
we're like the Monday morning quarterback
Eric,
sitting in the gallery.
Eric, from the beginning of time, mercenaries have made a lot of money.
I'm not
doing
talking about
this.
mercenaries.
Well, it's mercenary work.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Mercenary work
That's
is not
a hired
commercial.
gun to go back and get something.
It's not a hired gun. I'm talking about a badass bulletproof tow truck.
Okay. That's gonna face bullets,
I'm talking about a tank.
and they're not
Come on,
tranquilizer
Eric.
darts. That they'll be facing bullets in many
Right.
cases trying to get
Right.
said
What?
vehicles
Okay,
back
we're
in
just,
areas that cars are located. When my vehicle was stolen,
Mhm.
like I said, it ended up in the exact spot in North St. Louis that police told me it would be, ransacked, used for other crimes, and undrivable.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they were right on every time, even to about the week that it would be found.
What if we used helicopters and just dropped lines, hooked up the cars, and pulled them out of St. Louis? And see, you wouldn't even need a tow truck then. You would just get Chris's
No.
helicopter with a big.
But there's
old
not enough
pulley.
helicopters to be doing the job.
I guess you're right.
I
You'd have
agree with-
50. You'd have 50 cars being pulled all the time throughout the year.
I'm
It'd
sorry.
be like
Yeah.
Mad Max.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I
in
just
some
had-
I
senses, we're
agree,
getting to
Curly.
that point.
Or we could get like we can get an old Sherman tank and put like a logo on it, and that would be the tow truck, and just drive it around downtown St. Louis.
God.
All right, you know what? This is ridiculous conversation. Just
It's ridiculous, but
fix
it's
your
not.
crime problem for God's sakes, and we don't even have to
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
not
this
going to be
anymore.
fixed. That's not going to be fixed anytime soon, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
It's
I
just not going to happen.
good people of the world. I apologize. Anyway,
By the way, fine, we'll move on from that topic. A new study came out. This was in Fortune magazine for whatever reason in all places. This is what they're doing with their time. If you are not vaccinated,
Mhm.
you are 72% more likely to have a traffic accident.
what?
Oh boy.
I repeat,
What?
if you're not vaccinated, you are 72% more likely to have a traffic accident. Brought to you by the good people at Fortune Magazine for whatever reason.
Or BJC. No. Get your vaccination and stay out of car wrecks. Well, you know what? All of those weird, you're either vaxxed or you're not, stats, they're going to be skewed one side or the other. You know, that all that means to me is that there's more people vaccinated. Yeah, there's more people vaccinated than there are non-vaccinated. You got to imagine, right, Chris? It's not 50-50.
I don't know.
What's
I would love to know that number.
How many
I don't
in
know.
our community right now, Vic? How many people are vaccinated versus not?
I would guess it's about 75%.
Okay.
Are vaccinated?
Yes.
Well, then that
Wow.
stat
I
is
think
ridiculous.
just from the numbers that we had about a year ago.
Damn,
Wow.
that means we're going to be lonely pretty soon.
Just from that.
25% that didn't get vaxxed.
Yeah.
Everybody's dying that's getting the vax.
Are we sure about that? Are we sure about that?
There's a lot of people dying, man.
I know.
People die every day though, so I don't know. I go back and
he's-
forth on this.
He's vaxxed. Be
Well,
careful.
I am
this was
not.
but here's
You're
the
not
thing.
vaxxed?
though.
Mm-mm.
They didn't give you a vaccine.
But Eric,
Good.
He got the I word.
yes.
Well, that's fine. That's different. So did I.
And here's
So
the
did
thing.
I.
You did?
Yes, I sucked on
You
some
got
paste.
vaxxed?
I sucked on some paste.
Did you get vaxxed?
I did not.
It was actually in the American Journal of Medicine. During the summer of 2021, Canadian researchers examined encrypted government-held records of more than 11 million adults, and they found that 72% of people who were unvaccinated were more likely to be involved in a severe traffic crash.
You know what? You just canceled out your statistic because we just said in this room probably 70% of the people, you did,
Mhm.
70% of the
That's
people
my
have been
guess.
So guess what? If you were to put that on some kind of algebraic chart, you would go 70% of the people need to be in you know what I'm saying? Well, wait a minute. Actually, that would be backwards, wouldn't it?
Yes.
If you're vaccinated, then that doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
I guess we got to go get vaccinated today.
No,
I don't want to get in a car wreck. Chris, let's go. We're going to
No.
Walgreens,
can't do it.
CVS. No,
Yeah, I'm looking for current. Yeah, I can't find any current. Let's see, maybe of the percentage of people.
it's a bogus
Yeah, I can't
stat.
find. I can't find. Well, here's what it is. According to the CDC, as of December 14th, let's see. Actually, December 14th of last year. So
Okay.
last year at this time, roughly 85% of adults ages 18 and over, 85% of Americans had received at least one dose.
Woo.
15% remained unvaccinated.
Yeah,
Are we sure those numbers are correct or they're just not?
Well, I mean, I guess we could always question numbers. This is according to the CDC.
What I would like to do is go around
that's
this whole
interesting.
entire building and get a number just in one building. How many?
Most people don't want to talk about it. And I don't
No.
blame them.
No,
It's
they
really no
don't.
one's business.
But that's how you're
It
going to
really, isn't. It really isn't. But you're right, Chris.
You know,
That makes sense.
it would just to get a true number. I mean, you just figure one building. How many have been vaccinated?
I think the building, it's up to the building. If we go to this building, not so many people are going to be vaccinated. But if you go to a building, if you go down to a school district in St. Louis, there's going to be a lot of vaccinations going on
agree.
there.
I
It's,
agree.
it's all based on ideology.
I agree.
St. Charles people, St. Charles, they didn't subscribe to the vaccinations as much as other places on the planet. I'm sorry, they just didn't. And
Does that surprise people? I mean, that was a year ago that the number was considered to be 85% of Americans 18 and older.
I don't agree.
It was
I
big
don't-
business.
I don't agree with that number. I mean, I guess if you were a liberal and you were 18 to, what'd you say?
18 and up.
18 and up,
18 and up.
18 to death.
pretty much.
There is no age. It's just
Which may be
18 and
sooner
up.
than you expected if you. No, it is. I mean,
18 and death. to
Yeah.
Donna says, who cares,
beat me to it.
vaxxed or not? I don't care. I'm just curious on the numbers. That's all.
Right.
I don't care either
Yeah,
way.
I don't
If
look at
that's what you
somebody-
wanted
I
to
find
do,
the,
awesome.
I find the report card very interesting.
Yeah, that's
very,
that's
very
my point.
interesting.
That's my point.
Much more than the article released that if you're not vaccinated, 72% of you are likely to have an accident.
I mean, isn't there's weird stats all over the place right now, and one is like, if you acquire COVID-19 and you were vaxxed, what's the percentages of people who weren't vaxxed to, the death rate? What's the mortality rate now? Now we can actually take a step back and go, damn, if you weren't vaccinated, you are 25 times more likely to die of COVID-19 than you were if you had the vaccination. That's an interesting step. That's one that can make you make a good decision in your life, right? But if we find out, and this is a stat, please correct me if I'm wrong, because this is supposed to be a truthful show. I say things truthful, unlike Tabitha Hassel. I'm just kidding. If it says, look, 40% of the people dying of COVID were vaccinated, opposed to 20% of people who weren't vaccinated are dying, then all of a sudden you're going, damn, even if I'm vaccinated, I have a better chance of dying from this situation. Isn't that right? Isn't that how you would read it in a post-mortem COVID world?
Yeah.
Or is it just there's so many people that have been vaccinated that they're due to be passing away?
How many people aren't vaccinated and say they are?
How many people?
Oh, I think there's a lot of people that lied about it.
You just from the pressure.
Yeah, I think there's
100%.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I'll say this. I am still thankful that I did not get the vaccine.
And you were on
And
the
you
fence.
should be.
Woo, dude,
I'm thankful. And here's the
there were
reason
many
why.
nights when you would talk like, hey, you want to just go get
The
it?
good Lord is like throwing things at my face, because last night I was watching Fox News.
Yeah.
And they were going back and they were talking about Anthony Fauci, and they were playing clips when Anthony Fauci came and said, well, you have to get vaxxed because it will stop the spread of COVID-19.
Yeah, and that spread throughout the entire country.
The
all
world.
local officials,
Right.
Sam
The
Page-
world.
in
And
the
that
St.
was
Louis
nothing-
area. It was Sam Page.
Here's a great stat
That was nothing more than a lie.
on the
I had a news.
True.
I had a news leader tell me, well, we can't cover the other side because there is no other side. It stops the spread.
Yeah.
But
Which is total.
They were wrong. And if you're watching, because I know you guys hang on
Can
every
we-
word that I say, you were.
Can you
wrong.
say right now that
can you say a little curse word on this program?
Yeah. What do you want to say?
It was bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
That's what it was.
Can you say
it was
right
just
now?
a little one.
Yeah,
Can
it
you-
was
can-
just a little one.
I think this would mean a lot. Not that it's important, but can you say right now that the reports you had over there at your local news desk were just not right? You should.
They weren't complete because we didn't have every side of the
They
story.
weren't complete. So,
And I've said that. And of course, you can say that. We didn't cover every side of the vaccine. We didn't cover every side of the masking update. We didn't cover every side of all of the conditions until it was too late. Late in the game. And you'll see some of those where you start to talk about the people, 94% of the deaths that did occur were in people over the age of 50. And those had at least 3 existing conditions. COVID was real. We talk about this a lot. COVID
Sure it
was
was.
real.
Yes.
It is a bad thing to a
Yes.
lot of people, not
I agree.
everybody, to a lot
Yes,
of people.
I agree.
And it brings on a quicker death from conditions that people already have. Vaccine also proved to help some people, but it's also proved to hurt some people. But we didn't get it told to us like that. 100%. We were never told that. We were also told that mask would prevent us from spreading. That was not true. We were also told that mask would protect us, but there wasn't one controlled study that proved that. That's all we're saying.
Mhm.
We're just trying to get the information out. As the docs, the cardiologists, I talked about it 2 days ago, just to bring it into play right now, said we should be telling people we don't know if the vaccine is safe or not, or if it's going to cause long-standing conditions, but we should be telling people. But they said at the same point in time, then people would be worried and maybe not get it.
Do you feel like you lied? Not lied. Do you
No.
feel like that your organization lied to St.
No.
Louisans by not covering the second
No,
part of it?
and I've always, you and I have talked about this. I don't feel that they're lies. We just didn't tell the full story, and not just us. This is
Nobody
people all
told-
across the country.
Nobody in
These are
media
what the
told full
doctors are
story.
telling me, that you're not telling the full story.
Well, you're the guy. Yeah. It's like with everything, the media is complicit in not telling the full story. Isn't that lying?
But Eric,
On
they
certain
still
issues,
today, 2 years later, they still lie their ass off. They still don't tell the whole story.
A lie.
today.
Okay, so a lie to me is not a little bit different. In media, these guys are stone cold killers. Vic's industry, from local
His-
all the way up to national, is stone cold killers because, like Vic
Vic's
just said,
industry he used to be with.
he used to be with are stone cold killers because they can literally not tell you a story. And to me, that is a blatant lie. It is a disservice to the American people on
Sure.
any topic.
Sure.
To me, that's lying. If you don't cover Elon Musk in the Twitter dump, you're lying to the American people. If you
Right.
don't cover the border and how detrimental this is going to be, you're lying to the American people.
Yes.
I wish, beyond wishing, that our media would be something you tuned into and we all trusted. But we
I don't know.
That's,
but
we're,
we-
that's what
but-
we're trying to do here.
But we don't trust.
I don't
them.
know why.
Well, it's not just about trust. There's certain things at play. And Eric, you are convinced that CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, they're all losing viewership and canceling shows
Oh,
because they haven't told the
Yes,
truth.
because that product back in the 80s, 70s,
did you
60s,
see the
50s.
latest Nielsen rating?
No,
And local, and
Oh,
the same thing is happening to local news. Nobody's watching. We looked at the ratings unless there's like severe weather, or if the Cardinals, like just in the St. Louis area, the Cardinals are doing fantastic.
Oh my God.
But you know what they are watching?
What?
This.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, that's
Everybody
right.
has a telephone. Everybody watch podcast. Everybody watch YouTube. This is where it's at.
But this industry, Chris, is not is susceptible to misinformation
It
as
is,
well.
it
I'm
is,
sorry,
it
Tabitha
is.
Hassel today said there's no dinosaurs. That's
But
yeah,
the
but
thing
she
about
also
it is,
said Steven Tyler
was gay and tranny.
No, he started. he started
in
liberalism.
the in the 80s.
See what I'm saying?
well, she
Where do you
sent
get
the-
your information
well,
from?
she sent us some pictures, and wait till you see the pictures. she
Come
sent
on.
us.
Yeah, but to say that Steven Tyler started,
You want to
But he's a very
liberalism?
eclectic dude. Like he's an exception. Like
But-
he's just strange.
Yeah, I'll send you a few
But
pictures of
anyway-
myself. I am completely heterosexual. All right.
no thanks. No thanks.
But Eric, what we're doing is we're having the conversations. We're inviting everybody with an opinion to come in to give us their opinion. We're trying to talk about all the sides and the sides of stories that haven't been told for so long.
Right.
And I'm convinced that's why news, both local and national,
Yeah.
has tanked
See, to me, the
with
pro-
ratings and viewership.
yeah, to me,
Specifically after the 2022 election, and because there were a lot of people
can I
who
ask you
felt like
this?
it wasn't
Can I
covered
ask-
fairly, and then COVID, and then it just blew everything out of
can
the
I ask
water.
you a question? If there was artificial intelligence news, Darren Wilson would have been the headline would have been St. Louis County police officer shoots man. Michael, what was his name? Michael
Brown. You're
Michael
talking
Brown.
about Darren Wilson.
This is. Let me give you an example of how real news would have worked. St. Louis police officer shoots a local. What blah 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 whatever. We don't have the details yet. We'll get back to you. As the investigation went on, the local media would have stayed out of it until they actually had pertinent information. That when they came back and said we did the research, there's no charges filed because Darren Wilson, the young man, was stuck his hand into the police cruiser and it was a justified shooting from a police officer. That would have been the real news that didn't bring down a country, in my opinion. You wouldn't have had a Don Lemon sitting in the middle of Ferguson,
Well, that
Missouri.
guy's a racist too.
Yeah, but it's fake news. You wouldn't have had MSNBC saying that, well, there are racist cops and now we have to break the system down. We have to defund the cops.
well, there were
Ferguson,
some
Missouri,
racist cops.
Ferguson, Missouri would not have become the mecca of Black Lives Matter. You see what I'm saying? So
I know
you
what you're
guys did a disservice by not saying we're a legitimate news source. We're not going to report stuff that's not accurate. We'll get back to you. And then when the real story came out and Darren Wilson would have been vindicated, right? He actually got attacked and assaulted. You don't do that to a cop.
Right.
You don't go and assault a cop
No.
without ramifications and consequences, okay?
Well, since you brought it up, and we did try to cover this, this is one thing, and I think it's always, if you ever bring up Darren Wilson or Michael Brown, you have to bring up that the Obama DOJ, led by Eric Holder,
Oh, God.
tried. They tried to go. They went after that case, and you know what they said? They said there's nothing he can
Right.
be charged with. But the national media didn't cover it that way.
Nope.
And then,
Or the local media for that
No,
matter.
because they wanted a story.
but I specifically did a story where I went and talked to Michael Brown's dad 2 years later, when he was still saying that he was fighting for justice. And I asked him outside the St. Louis County Courthouse, I said, so after he was having a presser and saying that he was wronged and justice has not been served, I said, so are you saying the Obama administration got it wrong? And he's like, 100% they did us wrong.
They did us wrong. It's not that they got it wrong. They did us wrong.
That's two different things.
Instead of Channel 2 News coming out and
Or
saying,
Channel 4
and-
or Channel 5.
right, and saying Michael Brown was actually not shot in the back, he was shot this way. This is how it happened. If then there would have been a story, not that Ferguson wouldn't have gone up in flames anyway, but there would have been a story saying, look, if you mess with the cops, if you attack a cop, it's lethal force is justified anywhere. If it was, I remember it back then. There was a police shooting. Remember when that guy got shot in the cornfield by the cops?
Mhm.
Remember when he drove his car into the cornfield and the cops? There was no retribution against that. The guy had a damn gun and the cops shot him. And I think they were even high-fiving each other.
And before the show ends, I also have to remind people of this. Wesley Bell. I happen to like Wesley Bell. I know him and I like him. He's the St. Louis County prosecutor. He ran and had an upset victory because guess what? He ran on the Michael Brown case.
Right.
He said he would reopen the case. This was massive.
Yeah.
Pulled off a huge upset. He becomes St. Louis County prosecutor. He reopens the case. And guess what?
He basically did his job.
He finds the exact same thing out. There was nothing illegally done.
Yes.
There's no charges to be filed. And he was cussed at by people from St. Louis County as he walked out saying, you'll never get another term. I was there listening to this stuff. The vitriol he faced because it wasn't the quote outcome that the community wanted. But he did his job, and he did the same thing the Obama administration did.
Yeah.
There was nothing to go after Darren Wilson for from a legal standpoint.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yep.
Zero, nada, end of story.
Yep. And now we're in this mess of a world that we're in.
And
right
those
now
were three African Americans: Obama, Eric Holder, and Wesley Bell, reopening the case, and they all couldn't find anything.
You cannot trust media people. I'm sorry. It sucks. You're not going to find any information out tonight about the fact that the border is about to open wide up. You're not going to find any information out about tonight.
You're going to find out some of the best border information you're going
Yeah.
to find anywhere in the country on this show, too. We're getting to that next week. We'll be talking border. We'll be bringing back in our colonel.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait to talk about the border.
We're going to try to get Colonel
it's
Adams in
ugly.
studio. We'll see what we can do there.
Newsom goes and visits the border before Joe Biden.
I cannot.
What?
Because
I'm gonna
as
do an
Eric's-
Eric.
because
What?
Like that would.
but you know why? There's a plan for that.
I
As
did
Eric
the same
says.
thing. Yeah, he's running for president.
Because
That's why.
he's going to be running for president. I am sold. Eric called that first. I didn't think he'd follow through with that.
Yeah. There's going to be a big void here when whatever animatronics are running Joe Biden, they're just going to run out.
Hey guys, this is Cancel This. We appreciate you joining us today. Tab the Hassle already left. Scotty working on the boards.
Good job,
Chris
Scotty.
Knight
Yeah.
filling in
Oh,
today.
thank
Good to hear you and see you again on camera, Chris. Eric Johnson.
We need another camera around here. Or two.
Yeah, we will. We'll
Or
go.
four.
We're gonna get them in. We
Cancel Biden.
Yeah. We need the midget bowling camera out there.
Yes.
We're just getting started with all of it. Hey, big show tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. Coming up in our 8:00 hour, we're talking to my man GS3 from Michigan, one of the people responsible for me starting this whole podcast. He's hanging out with President Trump tonight, Lincoln dinner.
Woo!
He's going to
Nice.
report tomorrow as a correspondent for us. Let us know what happened tonight, who was there, give us the insight on Donald Trump, whatever he says at that dinner. Can't wait to talk to him. And then at 9:00, talk to a former professor of mine at the University of Missouri, Glenn Boyer. He was canceled when he was a professor because he tried to talk about Rush Limbaugh and how Rush Limbaugh had become successful. You won't want to miss that canceled interview. Catch us on cancelthisshow.com. Thanks for making this great. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.
See.